Hello, I'm Matthew, the Dungeon Master here on Stories to D4. I'm really excited you decided to join us here for our special, The Creator Showcase. I've had a lot of fun working on tonight's session, and so I really want to jump into things quickly tonight. No special announcements here for the channel, but before we get started, welcome! I want to introduce you both to myself, the party, and also some incredible creators whose work you'll be seeing on display here tonight. So, who are we? Well, we have our fantastic cast for the evening. You've already met me. I'm the Dungeon Master. You'll hear a lot from me, so we're gonna go ahead and just kind of go around the room. Hi, everybody. It's been a bit.
Hey.
Has been a minute. At least 2.
It's been several, in fact, minutes. Which good job, Connor. Here's your DM inspiration. Thank you so much. He was right. It has been minutes. But I want to go around just really quickly. Really quickly, because we have some people who are watching here tonight that may be new to the channel. We can just introduce ourselves, tell us a little about yourself, about the character you're playing here tonight. We'll start with you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Clella. Tonight I'll be playing a magical girl warlock, which I'm incredibly excited about. That goes by Valindra Vocenaria, who is also an Eladrin, which I think is really fun. So.
Awesome. I'm really excited. The Magical Girl is just the first of many pieces of homebrew you'll be hearing about tonight on our showcase. Would you like to continue?
All right, I'm Victoria. Tonight I'll be playing Camille Lyons, a cleric magical girl.
Oh, this is gonna be divine. I can't. I'm sorry. It's so early, and the bad jokes are coming out. What are we gonna do? Alex, please help me. Save me here.
So do I say Alex or Yuri? Okay, I'm Alex.
Wow.
Stole my introduction. My name's Alex, and I am playing a magical girl artificer named Peter Pepper.
I will not stumble on this name. I'm sure of it.
I have been practicing it all day.
I'm so proud of you. All right, we got one person left, and I figure we'll let everyone speak here before we jump into talking about our creators tonight.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm kind of a regular here on Stories, but I'll be playing a half-orc magus, which is a homebrew class that Matthew actually created. I'll be playing a different one than what Clella plays, which is a bulwark magus. So
Sweet.
that should be fun.
And yes, as you mentioned, some of the work you're seeing tonight comes from us here in Stories, things that we've tested internally. But I really want to take a moment and just introduce some of the creators that we'll be showcasing tonight. We've spoken with a bunch of people over in the tabletop space, and we really thought it'd be fun to demo out some of these monsters and subclasses and just various kinds of homebrew that can really bring a session together. Maybe you want to make a change from what you've been playing at home, or you're looking for something to fulfill a particular character concept or aiming to spice it up an adventure. So let me go ahead and bring those up now. So we have a couple of people here. So Spicy Encounters has made some really impressive stat blocks. You're going to be seeing some of those here tonight. Never Not DM, or GM Ben here as well, is going to be giving us some support here as we have quite an adventure planned for you. Both myself, Motive Matthew, and Kev here have created some classes and subclasses that our players are playing. So you're going to be seeing all sorts of new abilities that'll allow players to try something completely out of the box. We've got some very colorful, magical effects waiting for you. Finally, I want to make sure to include everyone here. We have Scald and Brave, both of which have got some really great ways to flesh out a world itself. Scald has made a number of these different collections of encounters, social or combat, some of them even exploration related, and Brave actually works on their entire setting with the Shattered Realities. But we'll talk more about these at the end of the session, just to kind of expand further on all of these different creators here. But let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons. You guys wanted to play?
Yeah.
Alex, you're our man behind the screen. You're normally, well, not the screen, behind the scenes. You're normally over here, just off camera, occasionally giving us a thumbs up or telling me when things are broken. I want to thank you so much for coming and joining us to play tonight. Do we have anything else we need to announce before we jump into our session tonight?
No announcements tonight.
All right, well, friends, family, people who are fans of some of the creators here tonight, people who want to come and see an adventure outside of the Defiant Smiles, welcome. Let's start our session here today. Tonight, I'd like to welcome all of our guests, new and old, to a very special adventure. Rather than joining our normal heroes over on the continent of Gren, the Defiant Smiles, going and facing off against assassins, hunting down killers, or even just fighting a dragon, I thought today we would travel far to the northeast, away from Gren, to a continent known as Ong Vatan. This land is filled with many ancient secrets, magical mysteries, kingdoms with long stories, tales, proud lineages. But tonight we're going to go to something a little more modern. This land, known to many as the First Realm, is the birthplace of many of the different races of our setting in the world we know. We're going to travel down the Coinrot coast to the southern reaches of the First Realm, past the bustling streets of Anton's Gambit, the hollowed halls of the Morning Lord's fort, and the mountaintop city of Ortis. Here, just nestled atop the cliffs that rise above the Balric Bay, we find the Lanternhold, this bulwark castle that is held for about a century now in relative prosperity and peace, despite the violent nature of some of the mages of the Setla Dominion to the north. Here in the castle is a pleasant little academy, home to a number of youths who are studying magic and history, learning the ways of arithmetic, or even practicing the arts. This academy, Lister Academy, is going to be the setting for our story here tonight. We're going to come and descend here in late afternoon, early evening. Maybe the sun is starting to dip, giving some of those beautiful shades of orange and purples up in the sky. But let's take a wider look here. Let's really explore the space, everybody, as we kind of descend over this sort of central courtyard, a nice a nice grassy courtyard here, surrounded by the sort of Gothic stone hallways that separate this section from the rest of the school proper. School itself has a sort of almost cathedral sort of edifice to it, and were it not for the many strings of colorful plant-like life and vines that have been sort of growing along the sides of him, it could give a cold appearance. But things have been pleasant. Some of the local students have taken it upon themselves to give a bit of a polish to the school, make it more inviting, maybe put up posters or flowers in places where they weren't originally at. Not saying any names. We're gonna go past what looks to be this trio of younger students, probably their late teens, maybe early 20s for the oldest among them, who seem to be sort of sitting in the courtyard, nestled on the grass, kind of just enjoying some study time and chatting. And we're gonna go a little bit further, one of these stone walkways, as the students kind of are distracted by a half-orc man who is currently really getting some verbal lashing from one of the professors here at the academy.
Really, Mr. Ignatz, sleeping on the job. I understand that it's not quite...
This older, you think gnomish, but gnomes and halflings sometimes you've struggled with in the past. This older, gray-haired, short man kind of looks up at you, waggling his finger.
Your old job might have been more exciting, but that doesn't mean you can just go and relax and enjoy yourself. You have a duty to both the school and her students.
I'm sorry, didn't sleep well last night. Haven't been getting sleep.
As this gnomish professor kind of looks you up and down, you want to describe your character for us?
Yeah, it's a typical half-orc, I guess. You know, a little bit of green skin. He's got some freckles.
He's a freckly man.
Kind of graying a bit in the beard.
Okay.
He's got some wrinkles, probably about in his 40s.
Ooh,
mid-40s.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, half-orcs not living, they're not longer living than like humans, for example. So you're in your middle ages. You're not the young half-orc you used to be at this point.
Definitely.
And any sort of notable equipment, clothing. What do we get kind of looking at this man?
Fairly heavily armored, wearing some splint mail, and got a longsword on my hip.
Well, I've appreciated you since you've come here. You know that several of us vouched for you when you came to the Lanternhold.
I think we both know I was overqualified for this job.
Well, you should consider visiting Professor Terry later. She has powders and such that can help with those bags under your eyes. Being presentable is important. Is professorial, even.
I didn't realize I was molding young minds. Thought I was here to just protect him.
Well, there are more tasks of a groundskeeper, security, but also being a paragon for the people.
Okay.
With a little bit of a huff, kind of just thinking, now on to your method of dress. We're gonna kind of go pull back into the courtyard. This half-orc Sog just taking a moment to himself here. I want to kind of back up to those students we saw earlier. It's been a calm day so far. Studies are out. You've got a bit of reprieve here over the next couple of days. But in about a week's time, you'll be back at classes as the new term starts and more of the students return to Lister Academy. But the three of you've been here for quite some time. What are you chatting about? What's on your mind?
I am concerned, maybe, going over my most recent exam scores, that perhaps, maybe I might need a little bit of tutoring at some point. Again.
Tutoring,
Like-
schmootering.
like-
We should just invade the teacher's mind, convince them to like us,
But that's
and
not...
then you'll get good grades.
But that's not right. I have to earn it with tutoring every semester,
And
as it's supposed to be done.
this young woman here, as the two of you were actually speaking, can you describe the two of you? We'll get to you in just a moment here, Alex. What do we see as these two are discussing whether or not they should be cheating? We'll talk about whatever the mind invading means, I guess, in a moment as well. What do you have in? Well, what do you look like, Victoria? And then Calla, you as well.
So there's a young woman kind of sitting here wearing a long blue dress, long sleeves, blue head covering, kind of just like sitting with her hands folded, has a very large bag with something kind of starting to poke out of the top of it a little bit.
There's a little like blue and red fold with a small little bell on
Yeah.
it. Okay.
I've also got freckles, funnily enough.
Hey man, freckles are great.
But just kind of very pulled together dress, but not the most fancy dress.
Right.
I look put together, but not like I've put a lot of, money into it.
Sure. So the two of you are wearing quite similar outfits, maybe of different qualities, but they're both certainly the uniform here at the academy. So we have this human woman, simple blue dress, wimple up top. Clella, why don't you describe your character a little bit?
So I am a Ladrin, and I'm in full spring mode, so very green all the way through and through. I'm wearing the...
Are you brighter than the grass?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
fantastic.
I'm wearing like the nicest possible incarnation of our uniform, but I am like sitting in grass, crumpling papers. I have like grass stains on my socks, like totally, like completely good. There's like a little bit of mustard from
You got
breakfast.
grass stains on silk?
Yes.
Okay.
Like fully, like there's a stain, like
So we get our basics from different stores, basically, is what I'm hearing.
every time I destroy my uniform, my parents just send me a new one.
You get a new uniform?
Do you want a new uniform?
No,
I can write them a letter. I have paper some.
As this is kind of going on, I do want to recall here, Camille, you know that somewhere between the grass and your bum, there's a little bit of stitch work that your father did just to repair the last time you had a major issue.
We had to learn how to, let out hems to make the skirt long enough to meet protocol.
Right, exactly, of course.
Yeah, you
Because
gotta be
breaking dress
manly.
code is unacceptable.
Absolutely, you have to follow the rules.
Modesty and rules.
Yeah.
Of course. The bickering about cheating is continuing. Alex, what are you up to?
I'm pretty distracted. I remember seeing a pretty shoddily dressed groundskeeper earlier. It's just really been going through my head over and over.
He was dressed true. It's normally the rest of the guard here, even if they're wearing armor, there are several knights who actually protect the academy. Technically, from what you've heard, give me a history check, actually.
Ooh, first roll.
Ooh, first roll of the night. See how we're going? Hey, man, you're probably not horrible at this. You're a smart cookie.
A 9.
A 9. As far as you know, you're not sure of where he ranks within the defense here at the academy, but he's one of the only people who doesn't wear like a tabard over his armor. He's just wearing armor and leather equipment. He's just wearing gear.
I believe he's outranked by the hall monitor.
Oh no. Oh, your school absolutely has prefects, doesn't it?
They're really annoying.
You have to get good grades, not just have a good uniform.
Okay.
Good grades.
At this point, Sog, you have finally been relieved here and are able to kind of head off. You've been relieved of duty. You can go and rest for the evening. Maybe tonight you'll get a better bit of sleep.
Yeah. I'll do a quick just run around the perimeter on my way back to my quarters.
Okay. You all, having seen this bit of commotion going on, you do see as the groundskeeper kind of wanders past, there is this faint sound, not enough where Sog, you have to pick up on this, but this is a sound that's familiar to you. Ding, 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 ding. The little the little object in your bag just begins jingling. That little bell hanging out the side just wiggles ever so slightly, jingling in the direction of Sog.
Mr. Moon's telling us something.
What is Mr. Moon saying?
I'm gonna open up the bag just a little bit, like kind of sneakily, maybe a little bit suspiciously open the bag and kind of like look off in the direction. Like look at him, look back in the bag.
So as we kind of gaze into your bag, we see this this strange wand, a crescent moon with made of what looks to be maybe marble or a similar polished white stone, with the wide-grinned smile of a crudely carved face. The eyes themselves look to be made of some sort of reddish glass that have been polished. And you see that wrapped around the small handle at the base of the moon, there are these 4 pieces of blue and red cloth that sort of dangle off to the side, each ending with one of these little bells. And now that you've opened this a little bit, the bells, still fairly quiet, are certainly all ringing, gesturing something towards this person. Would any of you like to explain what's happening?
All right, so Mr. Moon, the Find a Friend, is letting us know that there's somebody that we might be able to help.
You've had quite the adventure over the last year. Ever since you met that strange witch in your dreams, the 3 of you have been Dreamwalkers. Here tonight is a bit of an oddity, however, and perhaps the more intellectually inclined of you would have picked up on this quicker. Though you're hearing the bells, you don't see any of the telltale signs of the messenger who would normally arrive to relay your new mission to you.
We need to have a word with that man about his clothing.
I don't think his clothing is bothering him.
I think that, you know,
I mean, it could be.
It could be, but normally I think that this normally tells us to go help people, but we're not getting like the actual message.
Maybe the messenger has another appointment and is just running late.
Or like a stuffy nose, so he can't really speak the message outright. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the hall monitor stopped him.
Maybe the hall monitor stopped him. So
Hall monitors can't stop anyone.
Okay.
Does this mean we go?
I think if we know that there's somebody we can help, we help them. Yeah.
I'm down.
We've never had this situation happen, right?
Right, so generally speaking, for the last year, since you all received these strange powers, and they're powers you can use in the dreams, you've all actually always received a fiery messenger has arrived, a small little elemental sort of creature who would communicate the orders over from Lustershine the Witch. But not here, not now. You wait for a few minutes. The bells themselves still oddly ringing, even though that the man has left. A little bit fainter now, but it's a stronger reaction than you're used to for it to linger so long.
This is clearly a test. We need to take the initiative.
I agree.
So does anyone know where the groundkeeper sleeps?
I would assume he has a house.
Somewhere.
He probably is on the grounds, right? Isn't that normally a groundskeeper thing?
Do we follow him?
We could. Let's follow him.
What if we
We'll
asked
have to go
him?
home
Could we
eventually.
ask him?
Do you think we could ask him
But
without
then,
being
what if he
weird?
catches us breaking in?
Yeah.
Because you know you're not supposed to tell people about your abilities.
Right, but it'd be
Okay,
weird if
so
you walk
They will
up to him
definitely
and
tell
you
us.
say, "Oh, hey, where do you live?"
Don't tell your parents.
Yeah.
Claw's got her priorities.
We have line of sight of him getting like reprimanded by the other.
You saw
professor.
that, and you saw his general direction that he was off heading afterwards.
We could go for a stroll.
What if we talked to the professor who was talking to him and we just stealthily worked it into
It's also
conversation?
like the sun is setting. Could I get you both, the other two haven't made history checks, to also make a history check for me? I know you're not the brightest bunch, but you guys have been here for over. You guys have seen this person several times around the campus.
2.
Math 2.
4.
4.
I'm not very smart.
We've learned nothing from school.
The following hour and a half
did
of
you even
searching
get into
through, searching around, trying to recall quite where the groundskeeper lives is arduous. At least one time, someone nearly gets paint spilled on them. How? It's complicated and outside the scope of tonight's adventure here. But I do have to ask, you have to physically get close to him in order to activate your powers. How are you gonna get into his small cottage just outside the walls of the academy?
Do we have any contact with him prior?
You've met him before, but it's like talking to one of 12 security guards who works at a school.
Sure.
You're probably not a great.
Could we have passed him by and even just said a chilly hello or anything like that?
Oh, sure.
Right, but how do we
You
get
saw
to
him today when this happened. Was at like sundown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we need
Like you're not in. You're at the school because you guys live here. You stay here over the break.
Well, I might have just noticed that he seems tired and offer him something to help him sleep. Using, telling him that I was studying alchemy.
Oh, okay. Let me do me a favor.
Gonna poison the groundskeeper.
Yes. And change his clothes.
Let's make a quick roll here.
Strong persuasion check.
Well, I'm making a decision here
Yeah.
because it low
first.
checks to find you. I'm gonna see if it's
Yeah.
what the chances of them getting to you before you hit here.
Sure.
Unless you have anything you'd like to intervene with, Connor.
I'm gonna question any alchemy product from a student.
Well, so we're not doing Connor's crit corner this for this session, but that is a natural one for me. So I'm gonna say no on this, Alex. However, when you do arrive, there is the strangest sound, as if an earthquake is running right through his home. You hear this deep snoring happening, occasionally interrupted by. It sounds like he's getting punched in the gut. To be honest, it's just this strange, pained snoring.
I figured out his sleeping problem.
Sleep like that.
Sleep apnea.
But we can't cure sleep apnea.
I have one of those.
We can do anything.
You don't know that. You don't know you can't cure
I have a
it.
nasal strip on. I'm not using it.
Do you have a
Reading
you have like
through
a
my mouth.
nightcap and a nasal strip, soft blue pajamas?
He's wearing it like under his lip.
Although if you're all looking at this, you're definitely looking in his window in the cottage.
actually-
We're just like
You're just-
From here and then
The
attached
three
to the
youths
door, just
are
hold
all-
on his back.
The orc pig nose.
Wait, do you think the window is unlocked?
Okay, first, is there glass on the window?
Yeah, so the window is made of glass. There's no iron bars here. It looks like it's a single piece that is able to be lifted. Well, you can. It looks like there's something that would be a latch. With the darkness here, it's a little bit hard to tell. And also, you want to try to.
Yeah.
Here's what I have to ask a question. Sog, do you keep your windows locked? What do you say?
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm gonna listen, wait.
Do not break the window.
Do not break the
Do not break the window.
No,
I can
no.
get inside.
There's other ways. We'll just do this. There's other ways.
I can just get inside. I can't get inside. Actually.
I begin looking
No,
for
you
rocks.
I can't
No.
get inside.
No, you can't get
Once
inside.
again, you think of powers you don't have right now.
In the real,
Again.
in the
I
waking
begin
world.
looking for rocks.
I'm
Make an investigation check.
Let's go try the doors. Oh, does he have a chimney?
How are we gonna fit in your chimney? In the chimney.
That's an 11.
Okay, as the two goobers are talking about, do they have a chimney on this little cottage? You find a good rock. It's nice. This is a skippable rock. Like you could actually, though it's about half the, it's actually mostly the size of your hand because you are a halfling here. But it's got a good weight to it.
I will pull out my kerchief, wrap the rock in the
We're tempted to
kerchief,
climb to the roof.
and then punch the latch next to the window.
Shattering through the window, taking 1 point of piercing damage.
But I wrapped my.
Taking no points of piercing damage. That's fair. I like that. I understand now. You punch through the window. Are you disturbed in your sleep? Think
timed
here,
it with
lying here.
snoring.
You timed it with the snoring.
Okay, sleeping. I know my passive perception awake. What would it
It's
be?
-5 of that.
Minus
Mine's
5.
10.
It's 10.
Alex, I'm gonna ask you to make me a stealth check with advantage.
Because of the snoring?
Yeah, because of the snoring.
Oh no.
No.
A 7.
I thought sleeping was mine.
We're gonna talk about what happens here in just a second. You hear it sounds for a moment like he's that pain snoring, and it stops. Something in your dreams was disturbed, and we'll get to that here in just a moment.
How are we gonna fix the window in the How are we gonna fix it?
Those are awake problems. We don't solve awake problems. We solve sleeping
You
problems.
you've done a casual B&E over the last year.
Have we ever checked? Did we ever check the door?
No,
Can I just go check the door?
It's locked and there's a chair pressed up against it.
You make it
The
a
paranoid
grown
man.
yeah, he does.
Serious paranoia.
He just was broken into right now. He was.
He was correct to be paranoid. But after a
I'm
moment,
gonna be in so much trouble.
We won't get caught.
you start having an existential crisis as you see your halfling companion, Peether, is going to just open up the window.
Was there a chimney?
There was, in fact, a chimney.
We could have put Peter down the chimney and he could have unlocked the window.
How is he gonna fit in the chimney?
He's a halfling.
He's a halfling. He can fit in the chimney.
You will need one of them to
Very
help.
big.
You'd likely need one of their help to get over here unless you want to make an athletics check, but the rest of you are able to just
I can boost people.
Into the window.
into the window.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll boost.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
when we get inside, take out one of my sling ammunition and just drop it on the ground.
Oh, you just drop as a tiny little a BB, basically.
Wherever the most glass is.
Yeah. You make it look like someone shot a BB through the window. You see here there's this small toy slingshot that he carries with him. You've seen before how this can be a useful tool.
It's a wrist
Use it to
rocket.
distract- Yeah, it's a wrist rocket.
Did you not get that confiscated like last week? How did you get it back?
I built another one.
Of course you did.
Hey, this is why he's
course
the
you
smart
did.
one. He made it look like an accident.
Sure.
At this point, now I will say this sound is not heard by those who are currently asleep. Jingle, 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 jingle.
Oh, wait.
It's your bells. The wand itself now here is actually in its full effect. You feel a bit of magic coursing through it. You see this sleeping half-orc man, huh?
I said, this is ridiculous. We really need to have a word with the dean about a night watchman. I do not want people breaking into my dorm
your
room.
bedroom.
We've been breaking into people's bedrooms for a year.
If
I feel like you should give context to this.
to do the thing.
Yeah.
Let's do
No,
the thing.
not better. It's not better.
Victoria, what is
do
it?
the
How,
thing.
you want to? Would you like to use the wand
I
here?
would love to use the wand.
So the three of you walking over closer to the groundskeeper, you see him a little bit of drool come down the side. Some of it already just a little bit. Some of it already dried into the side of his beard here. Maybe he had a little bit of a nightcap before bed.
Oh yeah, there's.
Deep sunken eyes. What was that?
I said there's a big tankard on the nightstand.
Oh yes,
It's
huge tankard.
Empty.
Okay, having quite a bit of a nightcap. Let's call it a night helm, actually,
Yeah.
at that point. But you take the wand itself, place it in the palm of your hand with these 4 little dangling bells. Ring a 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 ring ring. And as you're doing this, the 3 of you, you each see each other. The edges of your form just begin to shimmer, almost a bit translucent here. And then there's a feeling as if you're falling backwards. You all blink. We're gonna go ahead and join in here with Sog as you enter his dreams. Now, for the last year, you've been helping people get over their fear of heights, deal with bullies, and otherwise warding off these lesser nightmares as you've helped your friends, maybe a family member who's visiting, the nice teacher who's been helping you down from that one class you took. But tonight's a bit odd, as the shape of the memories that you're seeing here, the dream that you're seeing here, it's different. It's almost more solid, less clouds for the ground, and actually a hard wooden floor. You see, looking around, dimly lit room that you're in, small candles set at the center of various tables, people placing patches of coin and muttering to one another in hushed whispers. You see at the far end of the room, the door opens, revealing a trio of heavily armed individuals entering the room and heading towards the counter. You see one at the center, a familiar face, Sog Ignatz, younger. The salt and pepper having disappeared at this point now just reveals a lush, well-manicured black beard. You see the same sword that he wears on his hip in the real world, and the armor itself is polished and fine.
He looks better.
He looks way better, for sure. To his left is a blue dragonborn. You see the heft of this long battle axe just coming over up one of his shoulders. The armor just a bit of studded leather. And to his right is a hooded woman, human. You see like bits of, it looks like a bit of brown hair coming out from one side, and then a long brown braid dangling down from the other side. There is a bow on her back, as this small party of mercenaries or maybe adventurers enter and head towards the bar. Sog, you remember this day. You came here, it was for a mission, I think. You were getting the details so you could set off. You see at the bar, there is this spring Eladrin man. The children themselves are not visible to you. They're not here. They're silent watchers at the moment. This Eladrin man looks out of place. His lime green skin bursting with color that in this otherwise muted gray and brown sort of tavern here. You see he's nervous, tapping his foot absent-mindedly as one of the floorboards underneath bursts with small bits of vines and plant growth as his absent-minded magic kind of, there's a little bit of damage here in the tavern. Kind of looks up at you, beads of rainbow-like sweat just rolling down the side, and just gestures over for you to come and join him as he walks over to a booth at the side of the tavern.
Walk over, lean against the bar, facing out, and kind of lean back on it.
Okay. You begin discussing details of the mission, what you'll be paid, what will be the cut for your party members. They have to secure you transportation. Go back to the party here. The words here are garbled. You hear bits and pieces of this that's going on. This is a memory, clearly, of some sort, but there's no danger. Why is this a nightmare? Why did the bells ring here? You hear, it's almost like they're, you hear that there's voices coming through, but it's like they're chewing like cold honey while talking, or thick caramel. That'd be a much better way of putting it. Cold honey, jeez. But like, it's wild.
Maybe he's scared of public speaking? Or social anxiety.
All of them are having this, but that's fair.
Did that actually come through as Feywild?
Yeah.
That was the only word that was...
There's pieces, so if you want to go ahead and, as you're kind of waiting here for a little bit, you pick up bits and pieces here. You hear the word platinum at one point as they're kind of continuing. You hear the word honest has been said, but it's it's only bits and pieces here. The last thing you really hear here before this dream seems to start to wibble and wobble is the word grove. You've felt this before. Whenever dreams don't often have full transitions to the next section. Instead, here you fall into the next section. Time here is a bit hard to keep track of, and sticking together is important for your safety. Everyone needs a travel buddy. But as we push forward, the dream is now fully solid. You stand about 35-40 feet behind a half-orc who is walking along a small dirt path in a thick forest. The area itself is beautiful. You see that though there are fine trees here, they have swirling branches. Some of them look to be not only interlocked with one another, but spiraling as if an active helix, the trees bursting with life. Strange bugs kind of walking along the surface. You see flitting bits of light flying by and giggling as this man walks. Not alone, but the two companions now appear almost spectral. They're not really here. Sog, the dream itself is encapsulated. Once more, you're back in one of your previous adventures. Until the party reveals themselves, you can decide to be walking on your own, but you all now exist to some extent. You can feel it. It's up to you when you'd like to use your powers, however.
I'm worried that something bad's gonna happen. Should we go ahead and...
Leaning over to Olive, saying, have you picked up on any tracks?
The woman kind of leans down, begins pressing her fingers into the dirt, kind of pushing down. As she's looking around, she speaks back to you again, because this person's not here and the dream's not solid around her. It's a little garbled here for you, but she quickly explains to you that there's so little movement. You'd expect here for there to have been beasts and fairies that have wandered through here, but it's like most things have abandoned here. Rest of your party. You're currently still standing here in your normal human clothes.
Yeah, I think I'm scared. I think it's time to...
Yeah, let's do the thing.
There is a violent thrum to your dream. You're almost knocked off your feet, and things are immediately wrong. This didn't happen when you were here. And as this is happening, there's a swirl of brilliant light coming from behind you. You see, I would say, silhouettes of humanoid figures briefly here. Do you want to describe yourselves as what happens over the next couple of moments as you hold, as Victoria's character, as Camille holds this wand aloft and you are all surrounded by glowing light? What does this look like?
I have a glitter cascade, like a cone of glitter, cascade it over and create like a shimmering layer of glitter lady.
Oh, beautiful.
Golden glitter.
Of course.
Yeah.
Some of the glitter encapsulating to form like a beautiful gauntleted glove.
Yeah, gauntlet, wing.
These two massive wings, like butterfly wings, but they're almost made of stained glass, separated by bits of gold. This blues and pinks and purples and greens, brilliant light thrusted behind you. And suddenly you're wearing this beautiful, this white dress, blue details, and you're alive again.
And some of the glitter stays behind where my freckles were.
Oh, just gold flecks right on top of there. You get someone salt baked gold onto you.
Yeah.
All right, Clella, would you like to describe?
I like to think that it's like stepping under a waterfall briefly. So sort of uniform, or I guess school pajamas melting away into the sort of leaf-like, I would say.
Yeah.
Assortment, no longer long-sleeved and buttoned up, but definitely very different looking. And then I think from the bottom, I pull out my cards.
Oh, beautiful. So forming along this eladrin, you become quite a bit brighter. Yes. You watch as where before you were a bit quiet and how you were handling things, just like your whole demeanor sort of explodes out. Armor of these thick reinforced leaves, but still beautiful and fun and spunky. And also there's a small box on both your sides that you're able to draw these multicolored cards from, these small crystallizations of your magic as a Dreamwalker.
Yes, I am a walking dress code violation now. So.
And now, my dear guests, we will get to the most ridiculous of them. Alex, you want to describe what's happening here for you?
I pull a pocket watch out of my pocket and I let out a long, heavy sigh, and I click the start on the stopwatch and it starts clicking. My bones start to break and contort. Very violent and horrible sounding, and then the whole front of my face pops out. Ears spring up. Oh no! and then I click the stop on this stopwatch, and I look at it and I go, 15 seconds. I can still do better. And then I just crack my jaw.
Oh my gosh! All right, let me go ahead and update our models here as each of you reveal your magical girl powers here tonight. This is one of the pieces of homebrew we're talking about tonight. These are our special subclasses here made by Kev. Now, each of you invoking these powers has a rippling effect on the dream. You know that Sog is aware of you, and Sog, you turn around and you see a human woman with fairy wings. You see this eladrin in dress code violations. And you see a rabbit man. You haven't seen a rabbit man almost ever? Very strange what you're seeing here. What is your reaction? As this rippling happens, your spectral companions become even more translucent. You are brought out of the blur that is a dream.
Hand on my sword. Did the Eladrin send you? I see you have one with you.
Did
We're not all related.
Did his mug that was on his bedside table have his name on it? Was it customized in any way, or was it just a
We just know the
basic-
groundskeeper's name.
Was it
You just know this guy.
Yeah.
You've
No,
met
no,
him before.
I'm asking specifically about the mug.
Do you have I was gonna say embroidered, that's the wrong word.
Engraved.
An engraved tankard?
Sure.
Yeah,
Could I have brought it into the dream?
absolutely.
Great. So I'll go up and I'll say, I believe this is yours, and hand you a half full mug of your favorite ale inside of your engraved mug.
A rabbit gives you a tainted ale. You are currently
Very confused because, am I aware that I'm dreaming at this point?
yes. So here's
Okay.
how this works. Welcome everyone to Connor's dream. So Sog, this is your dream. Here's the thing. So you know this is you. While you can vaguely remember some of the details here, a dream is it's hard to when you're sleeping. You're not using all of your mental faculties, and so you remember parts of things. If you have specific questions about how things went, we'll be making skill checks in order to recall information. You're currently on a quest in the Feywild to help root out corruption in this Eladrin's home, this beautiful grove that has since begun to die and wither. You're in a dangerous place, and these young people with weird abilities and a rabbit have showed up.
Rabbits are.
They weren't here, you're sure of that, but why are they here now?
Why are you here now?
We're here to join you on your adventure, make sure everything goes well, take you from point A to point B, point C, D, E, F, and, you know,
G.
and G.
G even. Yeah.
And G.
We could go all the way to G.
We don't know.
We're here
picking
to
up
help
on
you.
that.
We're here to help.
Hey,
Help?
Help?
Help. You wanted to
What?
help him earlier.
I gave him a drink.
Yeah.
Other than your rabbit friend here, what makes you think I can trust you two?
Well, no one's ever asked that before, so they normally just
Usually
roll
people
with
just
it.
kind of roll with it.
Can you just try rolling with it for a bit? Perhaps.
I know evil can take many forms, and just because you're pretty and sparkly doesn't mean
You think we're
that I
sparkly?
immediately trust.
You think we're sparkly?
the two of you can just create sparkles.
I'm gonna.
Cantrip called Sparkle.
I do light and then prestidigitate.
Yeah, prestidigitate
Oh,
around it.
amazing.
I'm
Well,
doing a little light show.
You get
now.
confetti bombed briefly.
If I can't get rid of you, I guess just try not to get anyone else in danger, especially me.
Right.
No, we're here.
How about you
We're
just
here to
follow
be
me?
opposite that. Sure. Yes.
I like to imagine that you're like asking, like, how can I trust you while drinking from the
Yeah.
mug that I brought you? Yeah.
Leaning back.
We,
What makes you
we
think I
brought
can
a
trust
gift. Yeah, we came with him. He brought you the gift, the ergo.
I'm
We
kind
brought
of-
you-
I mean, I am a
I'm
little
kind of the
hungry.
leader
I do
around
love
here.
rabbit.
You can't eat our friend.
I'm not really a
What
rabbit.
happens when we die in
This
the dream?
is just my dream form.
Connor is not.
Do you-
Sog doesn't know you're real people
Right.
necessarily.
Do you guys choose this form?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You chose to be.
The words of Lustershine
I was reading the
right.
book. I thought it was interesting. The herring. Where did they go? They've been gone for. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
The point is that parents don't exist in dreams. And that's wonderful.
I like my dad.
My parents don't exist in dreams.
This might be a nightmare.
Okay. Parents can
It's
exist in
probably a
night.
nightmare.
You realize where we're at, right?
It's probably.
A
You
forest.
could tell us. Looks nice. I kind
This
of
is
match.
the Feywild.
It's not
It's a
platinum.
dangerous place.
Nice.
You all kind of gazing around a little bit. You find yourself here in this tightly packed copse of trees. They're all these red tinted grove. This red tinted grove has a brilliant. There's like saffron and vermilion leaves that are slowly falling through the air, and even some of them, as they're falling, as if the seasons are changing in midair, shifting to green and to orange, some of them fading into nothing as they hit the ground. This place is so filled with life in its passage.
If it's dangerous, then should we not stand out here?
I think you guys should split at the first sign of danger.
That's not our job.
We'll consider that.
The human woman stands
We'll
up.
not do that.
She's
Take into
faint.
consideration and ignore it.
And now that you guys have activated your powers, you can hear her voice. You can see that she still has these wide-brimmed goggles on, goggles with the hawk here to allow her to see better. She looks at you. I think I found the way.
Great. Lead the way, Olaf.
I'm gonna go ahead and activate scouting.
Okay, using one of your new Magitech modes.
Yes.
So you watch as some of the magical clothing, you've got this long bandana, like briefly flashes as if it's made from metal, like reflecting light briefly. His clothes quickly having the same sort of pattern as the coat kind of flutters as if a gust of wind has run by. What does scouting do, Alex?
Scouting. Should have been ready for that.
That's okay.
Increases my movement speed to 45 feet. I have advantage on athletic checks, acrobatics checks, and I gain dark vision.
Fantastic. Some of the parts here under the canopy can get a little bit dim, so that was going to be useful here. Yeah, your eyes glowing softly. As you all continue moving through, following this spectral form of a human woman, you see that this dream is so solid. You've done these adventures a dozen times, 24 times even. But here is so real, so encapsulated, and so vivid. You pass into another grove here, strange fruit dangling from long, thin vines high above. They're probably about 25 feet up into the air as they're kind of just swaying with the breeze here. The ground itself is covered in a large collection of these bright sort of, what is the word? Mushroom caps, excuse me. You see these like brilliantly covered mushrooms here. Their caps themselves dotted with little white miscolorations on them. Thick vines filling the undergrowth here.
Did our magical transformation go ahead and consume Channel Divinity?
Yes.
Great, wonderful. So I'm gonna do my roll.
Perfect. So using your channel divinity, you gave up you activated all your friends' powers here.
Yeah.
And you all have all of your abilities from your sheet here. You're no longer first level commoners. You are instead these 6th level magical girls and magical rabbit.
I'm still a person.
Yeah. Well, you have bunny ears.
Magical person.
That's fair. But you all.
Can I jump up and grab one of the fruits dangling above?
You absolutely can. Now it's pretty high. If you want to try climbing and then leaping, you can. Otherwise, what do you want to do?
I think I can get it because my movement speed is 45 feet, and I can. I think
You
I
want-
can
if you
just
want-
about reach it.
So if you want to use one of your charges of your bunny hop,
No.
well, so they're up in the air 25 feet.
Mhm.
Let's make a. So normally, because it's 15 feet for bunny hop, you wouldn't be able to jump 20 feet in the air normally. It would take a charge of that in order to use the actual to actually reach that height.
Oh, I thought the jump was just like a factor of my movement speed.
No. It's not based on your movement speed. It's actually a special ability Herringons get. You jump better than anyone else in the party by a lot. But because you have your own length on top of that, 20 feet up, if you jump 15 feet, you have your reach. You'd be able to grab one of these little fruits if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay. You watch as he leaps up into the air, strong legs pushing off on the ground. Who was close to where he was standing?
I assume that we would both be. We kind of travel in a pack.
I'm gonna need con saves from the other two members of the party as you leap up into the air, grab one of these fruits, and you can barely see your friends as a spray of this yellowish mist of spores bursts from the ground here. Your friends coughing, you're able to kind of land on the ground.
Should I roll to see if I eat it?
You can make an acrobatics check for me, sure.
With advantage.
Taking a
No.
deep drink.
Oh, you have your scouting
Yeah, I
book.
was
Scouting book,
scouting.
perfect.
I'll be taking a deep drink from this mug saying, you guys have done this before?
I got a natural 1 for a 7.
And you were
Natural one?
Athletics, not
successful?
acrobatics.
Acrobatics.
Okay, that's a 22.
22. You land gracefully over near the half-orc and this spectral companion of his, who's becoming only dimmer now, occasionally with shimmering in and out of existence as you continue through the dream. You're outside of the field. You failed. What was your total?
8.
With an 8. Both. Let me go ahead and make a quick die roll here.
Oh, it's gonna take my hit points.
No, worse than that. Do you chew gum, Camille?
I have before.
Or like you have a candy?
yeah.
You've lost your sense of taste. I'm so sorry, Val? It's Val. I can call you Val, right?
Yeah, Val.
Yeah, of course, Val.
It's Val in the dream world.
It's Val in the dream world. Val, you've lost your sense of smell. It was so pleasant. This place was so filled with all these fruity and natural weird scents. It's gone.
Dude.
The spores.
Do you remember my little speech about pretty
Wait.
things being evil? Don't touch anything.
We didn't touch anything, technically.
Don't touch anything.
How big was the fruit?
The fruit itself is like, it's pretty solid. It's like a basketball of fruit. Maybe get 2 fruits in here. The fruits themselves are kind of odd. They're weirdly, like they make a swishing sound. They have some sort of liquid inside of them, but
I put away my snack bag.
you put your snack, you crumple up the bag. But there's a little very...
Could I identify it?
Sure, yeah. You want over the next bit of time as you're kind of walking forward here, occasionally the dream lurching forward to different parts on your journey here. At one point, you pass by a section of what looks to be that you've defeated these. You can see retreating this collection of black-garbed fairy folk, about like 4 feet tall, flittering and running away with their little daggers in hand, seemingly defeated. The dream lurches forward again. What was you cast Identify? Mm-hmm. Inside of here is a strange fluid. It requires both hands to drink from this large container, however, but it functions as a potion of superior healing.
Nice.
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 But you have these big, awkward potions that you could potentially use.
Jump some more.
Yes. But as you kind of continue on, you eventually arrive at a place that is familiar to you, Sog, but without a history check, you can't quite place here. You see a large canoe has been set up at the edge of a lake. The lake itself, beautiful crystalline waters, and you see the destination far into the water, several hundred feet at least. You can see a small island with a grove of trees that have been almost arched over, forming an I guess artificial is an odd word to put, an artificial dome of these trees here on the island itself.
Can I try to remember?
Absolutely.
History. Whoa, this looks different. There it is. Okay. 16.
16. Sog, we don't have all the information. It's one success. You remember you passed over the lake to get to the grove. Something was wrong. We all got in the same canoe, and the lantern went out, and something bad happened here, but you can't quite place it. But you know to be on your guard.
So far, Mr. Groundskeeper, this does not seem like a nightmare.
Take out my sword. You have weapons. I suggest arming yourselves.
Got the cards.
The canoe
Can I see
itself.
into the water at all?
The water itself, you can. It's not. It's so as you kind of look down into the water, though it's got this bright surface, you quickly realize it's not pure water. There's something mixed in with it. The water itself here has a strange scent to it. It's not sour in an unpleasant way, but it's just on the edge of unpleasant. Thick particulate having been stirred up from the base of it. You can probably only see very well up to the first 5 feet of the water.
Even with dark vision?
Yes.
Okay.
This is more about physical obscurity than it is darkness. The canoe is actually made of this fine lime green wood that the wood itself occasionally just warps ever so slightly. It doesn't look like it's a problem. It looks like it's actually moving with the water as though the waves of the small lake kind of brush up against it. The front of the canoe itself about 15 feet long, has this large hooked spiral, which has dangling from it a carved gourd with a wax candle in it that gives off fair light.
Is there any cargo in the canoe?
Nope.
So it's just a completely empty canoe.
Right. So just a quick reminder: this is all jumping between moments. This is something that you had set up by your companion. It was arranged by your employer here to be for you.
Can I take out a single ammunition and drop it into the water and see if there's any effect?
Presumably a few moments later, I hit the ground underneath. Maybe you drop another one. This water's very deep.
I get in the canoe.
It's certainly, because you can see about 5 feet deep, it's certainly more than 5 feet deep at the edge. Hopping on into the canoe.
Yeah, we
Shall
go,
we,
we
my
go.
strange new friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're friends now.
We're friends. See, it worked.
Power,
Upgraded
guys, we knew power of friendship was going to happen going in.
Got upgraded from threat to friend.
Very quickly.
You see that one of these, that Camille here, she actually, as she gets over to the canoe, her wings flutter ever so slightly, giving her just enough lift to daintily sit down in the canoe itself. Canoe itself is enchanted and will actually move on its own locomotion. Are you ready to get in?
You want to give me a hand shoving this out?
Yeah.
Push
I
these
use my
canoe out.
legs.
Yeah, the two of you push the boat out a little bit faster than you remember it going in here, hopping on into the boat. You all begin drifting through the water. It moves at a brisk pace. A little bit of whoever's sitting in the front here, a little bit of splatter as some of the water here kind of bubbles up. Again, it's not terribly unpleasant. It's not acid. It doesn't like harm you to touch this. But as it kind of bubbles up here and you're pushing through, what is everyone's passive perception score?
Since it's not pretty, we can trust it, right?
It doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work
It's
that
not
way.
black and white.
13.
15.
17.
Passive perception? 15.
So there was a 17 and the 15s.
Yeah.
Okay, I have excellent news. As you're pushing through here, you're probably about 50, 60 feet to shore from shore when you pushed out. You still got a couple hundred feet more. Three of you would notice the darkening shadow that is approaching quickly from the left side of the boat, but you, my dear friend, are surprised. I'm gonna need everyone to roll for initiative as something is emerging from the water, coming closer, faster and faster, and it starts to dawn on you. Oh no, this thing.
This is what it is.
I rolled a natural 20 for a 21. I don't.
21 for our dear Val. Victoria, how did Camille do?
10.
10 for Camille.
Yes. Cleric initiatives.
Peter?
17.
17, very good. And finally,
I got 17 as well.
all right, who has a higher dexterity bonus?
You probably do.
Plus 2.
Yeah.
Oh, dexterity, not an.
Oh,
I will use your initiative actually. It's a
plus
better. Perfect. So it's Peter, and then it's going to be Sog. Okay, not horrible here. So it is going to be a surprise. There is going to be surprised here for you, Val. You're actually the first in the initiative order. So kind of like playing out what this surprise looks like. You're all sitting here on the boat as it's moving. Maybe you've been chatting amongst yourself. The two apparitions occasionally have moved through the boat, passing through you. The other party members that worked with Sog here, disappearing as the fight starts here. You watch as the darkened form emerges as the lantern goes out. You see the creature itself pushing out from the water. It looks to be some sort of fish creature, although its primary blue form is hard to see in the murky water here. It's dim out here in this portion of the Feywild at the moment. And you know, I thought for convenience it would be really helpful to see this creature as it bursts up, heading over to attack our dearest Eladrin. Let's take a look at the Bonefish Wraith.
Yummy.
This creature again, kind of bursting out of the water. You see its large skeletal head, small bits of plant growth from whatever underbrush is found at the base of this lake, kind of emerging. This relatively ghoulish thing compared to everything else you've seen here. But on this first turn, it is going to go ahead and swim up to the side of the boat. It's going to make 2 attacks, one with a claw, one with its bite. As it's kind of moving forward, who would like to be sitting next to Val?
It would have been me.
Camille? All right, Camille, I'm going to claw you and I'm going to bite Val. Claw attack coming at you first. That is going to be a 25 to hit.
Great.
Creature comes up. You see its humanoid almost hand. What are you doing? What are you doing?
You take damage when you bite me.
Hurtful. I'm slashing you, but fair.
Melee.
As I strike against you, that's not too great here. 4 points of slashing damage as it rakes its claws against you.
And you take 5 points of radiant damage.
Oh, all right. 5 points of radiant. I don't.
2d8.
All right, I appreciate it very much. 5 points of radiant damage. You do see very quickly it seems to recoil from this strange light that you've imbued it with it. But it is going to try to bite your companion here. Horrifying. Not this, unlike some of the nightmares you've been here, it's not singing chocolates. It's not angry numbers. This is a full-on horrifying disembodied fish bone that tries to bite you.
You have nightmare numbers.
This is going to be a 9 to hit.
That does not hit.
Strangely, that is a miss as the creature comes up here trying to bite at you. Not quite able to seal you in. It doesn't look like it would have pulled you under necessarily from that, but you saw that the teeth themselves were glimmering with some sort of like thick, oily substance.
Ew.
It is going to try to then dive under the water and move further to the other side of the boat, which would provoke, if you are carrying a weapon.
I have a mace.
Now, you were surprised, but since you beat it in the initiative, you actually do get a reaction as well, Val. I don't know if you're carrying a melee weapon.
I'm not carrying any melee weapons. at all.
Fantastic. Then it's just going to be a reaction here from our dearest Camille.
That'll be 19 to hit.
19 is a hit.
Let's see. Great. Just making sure nothing else happens from traditional
Sure.
form.
Go ahead and roll that damage. And Alex, you're on deck to go next.
Max damage 8.
8 points of damage. As you strike against this with your weapon, you watch as it almost seems to partially ignore it. It certainly hurt it somewhat. This doesn't seem very your weapon does not seem very effective here as you strike it. This strange undead creature dives under the boat, continuing on, getting about 10, maybe 15 feet from the other side of the boat, but still staying close up to the surface. You see spines from the back of the wraith, as well as its arms are just drifting against the top of the water. So it's still visible, but it's moved out from melee from the boat. Well, then it's then going to be Alex. Sog, you're next.
How far are we from the shore? From the artist?
About 60 or so feet.
Feet. Okay. Can't jump there.
Okay. Terrifying fish wraith swimming along the water just went and hurt one of your friends.
So it's currently above the water, though.
Yes, like part of its body's kind of drifting right above. It's like mostly underwater, but it's got no cover here.
Okay, great. I'm gonna go ahead and firebolt it.
All right, you pull back this magic, your slingshot now having transformed with you, going back further and further, elongating with your rabbit arms, and the bolt, the BB ignites with flame. Make your spell attack roll. And you're still in scouting mode, I believe?
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
It's a bonus action to switch, is why I ask. Cool. What is your to hit?
What's the? It is 24.
24 is going to be a hit, not very high AC on this fish monster. You strike this thing with your magical flame. Go ahead and roll your 2d10. All right.
12 damage.
12 damage, and you guys can all see the fire damage seems to all go through here. The creature itself, this horrible hissing sound as you strike it. It doesn't look like it bleeds here. It's just more like pieces of the seaweed and like a couple of pieces of just bone just burst off to the side. Anything else in your turn, Alex?
Nope.
Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and keep on moving. Sog, it's your turn. Camille, you're next, and we'll end the round. Sog, this creature's out here in the water. You know it's gonna roundabout, keep attacking you guys. What are you doing?
Waiting for it to approach, I'll weapon burst.
Okay, what kind of element would you like to ignite your weapon with?
Fire.
Fire. All right, so taking your blade in your hand, you focus your magical energies, and small thin strips of glowing orange begin to just giving ornamentation to your weapon. Not a glowing flame sword, but instead a subtle, quieter effect here as you ready your weapon.
I'll hold my action until it's in range.
All right, you're gonna hold an attack when it gets in range of the boat. Totally fine here. We're gonna end with Camille.
Can we see it?
Yes,
Fine?
it's not very far.
Great. I'm going to cast Sacred Flame. Could you make me a
I will in fact make
dex
me a
save?
dex save.
There's no bonus if you have cover.
I do not have cover here. Now I think I might make it. That's a 17.
That'll make it.
Okay. I think you take no damage here.
No damage.
So here's what happens here. You see this, this from above, a series of light sparkles begin drifting towards the water, and then suddenly pillars of light stabbing into the water. It's very gentle and then very violent all at once as you fire down into this. Unfortunately, the fish dives underwater, bursting back forwards, roaring with this strange hissing guttural gross sound. Truly,
Nasty.
that was uncomfortable
That
to
was
make.
nasty.
It was a gross one. I don't know what's gonna come out, to be honest. Gross. And then that is gonna be the end of your turn, Camille.
Yeah, that'll be the end of my turn.
All right, we're gonna then go to Val. Val, it's the start of round 2. You're no longer surprised. The creature has turned around and is clearly coming back for another pass on the boat. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm going to pull out 2 of my cards, holding them in my hands, and throw them in Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
The creature.
You draw out this as you watch as the little boxes on her side, they don't actually contain cards. She pulls magic. It looks almost like magic thread, which quickly forms into like a large playing card with a glowing bright light.
So that's going to be a 14 on one,
Okay, the second one.
a natural 20 for 29.
All right, good news, bad news. The 14 just barely misses. You watch as you fire through. It actually looks like where the firebolt was earlier had shattered some of the skull from this bonefish, and it passes through harmlessly. The second one, though, you find just inside this deep, murky blue in the center of its form and strike at it. Roll that damage. Is it all force damage?
Yes, 8 points. It's going to be pushed back 10 feet as well.
Okay.
And slowed by 10 feet.
Push back 10 feet, slowed by 10 feet. Okay, it's gonna have a harder time getting to you this turn as you knock it backwards. You're not quite sure if it'll be able to get to the boat or not this turn. We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully.
And is there anything else on your turn?
No, that's it.
It is the Bonefish Wraith's turn. And even with its 40 feet of swim speed, I'd have to dash with my action. So instead, it's going to begin swimming closer to the boat, getting about 15 feet away from the boat, and is going to go ahead and use Call of the Deep. You watch as it begins swirling in the water, almost like the head seems to sink off it partially as this blue inkiness spreads out and lashes of it flying out in the air in different directions. I'm gonna need a con save from the whole party.
Luckily, all the magic girls are within 30
Yes.
feet of each other.
So you have an ability as a magical girl if you're within range of your friends. What does it do?
+1 is spell attacks.
What's it called? Sorry.
Strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers.
While within 30 feet of a fellow magical girl, you get +1 to attacks, dexterity saves, and constitution saves.
Well, that +1 does apply here, so give me those con saves for everyone in the party.
Okay. I'm gonna get 18.
18 is a pass.
18.
That's a pass.
26.
That's a pass.
Roll a 10.
A 10 is unfortunately a fail.
Wait a second. No,
I'll hold.
10's too low, I think. Okay, pass.
Okay. Good news, bad news. So, Sog, you're going to take 9 points of this necrotic damage. Everyone else is going to take half, which is 4 points. But, Sog, on top of that, you feel as this horrible, swirling blue-black energy strikes you. It, once again, the same weakness that once struck you. You lose 2 points of strength.
Ooh.
It's a -1 to your hit, -1 to your damage with your strength weapon. A big, big problem for you. As this magical curse just kind of penetrates deep into your form, you feel exhausted, like you do in the real world. These dreams keep making it hard to sleep, and now you're even fighting with these magical girls. What's happening this evening? But the bonefish, not more than 10 feet from the boat, is going to have to end its turn. It wanted to use its ability, so that's the best it's got here. We're gonna keep going. Pyther, that's you.
I'm gonna go ahead and activate offense mode.
Uh-oh. All right.
I didn't like the whole attack thing that it just did. I'd like to end this fairly quickly.
Ending it quickly. All right. As he does this, you watch as the slingshot gets gilded, the tip of his scarf getting a little bit of filigree as it kind of whips as if a huge gale storm was happening. Pulling back. What are you doing this turn, Alex?
I am going to cast Guiding Bolt.
Guiding Bolt. You'll love to see it. All right, go ahead and make your spell attack. And because you're using your Magitech ability here, you do add your int on top of this. It's a +4 here to hit.
So that's 46 plus.
Well, you roll to hit for this attack.
And you get a +1 because it's a spell.
Oh, true. It's gonna be a very big bonus.
That's 26.
Oh my god. Absolutely. Pulling back, no BB this time, just a full mode of this sparkling light condensing all at once, firing hit. And as it strikes this creature, it begins shimmering with radiant energy. Roll your damage, and the next attack has advantage.
15 points of damage.
15 points of damage? Okay, very, very good. As you strike against it, all of this seems to be working. The only thing that seemed ineffective so far was your non-magical weapon. Magical girl, not a +1 weapon, unfortunately. Pyther, is that it for your turn?
Yes.
We're gonna go on to Sog. Sog, this creature's like 5 to 8 feet out from the boat on the surface. You watch as most of its torso, basically belly button up, is up from the water, just kind of writhing in pain as this radiant light sparks between its blue, inky form. What would you like to do?
I can't reach it with my sword.
Unless you want to jump out of the boat.
No, I'll bonus action cast Dragon's Breath and then breathe on him.
Nice.
Feeling your strength having left you, seeing where the enemy is, you put your sword to your side partially, still staying in a defensive stance. You watch as he breathes in deep. What element are you choosing?
Fire.
Breathing this wave of fire, steam instantly bursting out from the water as the top of it boils rapidly. I will go ahead and make my saving throw. That's a natural 2.
It's only 9 points of fire damage.
9 points of fire damage. All of that damage is going to go through here. This thing is looking pretty hurt. Not quite out yet, though. There might be more to do with the bonefish. Saw, is there anything else in your turn?
Nope.
Cool. You still have that spell active?
Does the boat have an initiative? Is it still moving?
The boat is moving by itself. It's an enchanted canoe that was put here by his employer.
So we're like 10 feet closer so far.
Yeah.
Battle?
You were going to be traveling on this water for probably about 25 minutes. There's a ways out.
Oh.
If you wanted to get to the coast, you'd be turning around.
Oh, okay. So it's not moving at like a typical like movement speed. It's moving slow.
Right.
Okay.
And also the water's moving. Yes, you've got a good handle on this. Its speed has been counted into the encounter itself.
Okay.
As we keep going, it's going to be Camille and Val. You get to go next.
I'm inspired by my teammate,
Glowing radiant light. There's not just glowing white light. There's sparkles everywhere
and
here.
that Dragon's Breath wasn't an attack, so the next attack still has advantage, right?
Right.
Here's another guiding bolt. Give the next
No
person
way.
advantage.
Teamwork happening here. You're making the dream. I can't say make the dream work, can I?
Can't say believe it either.
No, you definitely can't. So we first guiding bolt, sparkling glowing white light striking against this creature.
27 to hit.
Super hits. Roll your damage. As you strike him again, you watch as forming all over its body, some of its limbs actually get encapsulated in these small magical circles as it's almost holding him in place. This undead creature trying to get towards you.
Another 12 points of radiant damage.
12 points of radiant damage. It's looking pretty darn hurt. It
And-
is bloodied.
And advantage for the next person who attacks it.
Okay, well then we're gonna go to Val's turn.
Okay. Advantage. So I'm gonna pull out 2 more cards and blast them. I guess I'll just roll the first.
It has advantage on the first one.
Yes.
All right, tossing. I know it's only 2 dice for you now, Clella.
It's 26.
Amazingly high roll. You toss this first card, shining purple crystallized magic.
15.
15 is exactly its armor class. So go ahead and roll both those damages together for me. 2 more of these attacks going through here. Looking what's going on here. These people are stronger than you were when you first came here, because you were a weaker man then. Younger, maybe a bit faster, but not as practiced. There's a lot of magic happening
Pretty
here.
close to max damage. It's gonna be 15 points of force damage.
15 points of damage. This huge strike as you hit this creature, watch it go, just writhing in pain. Not quite sure what it should do here.
Pushed and
It's
slowed.
knocked back 20 feet. It's slowed down. People have advantage on the next attack roll against it. The bonefish, harmed, beaten. Pieces of this bonefish wraith have been knocked past.
You also give advantage on your next attack?
No, that was
Oh.
Eldritch Blast.
Oh, I thought you said that the next attack also has advantage.
That's why she was
Okay.
going advantage.
Okay.
I might have misspoke. You
got
gave
lost.
advantage to Victoria. Victoria gave advantage to Clella.
I can't pass it forward.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Broke the start.
You can't do
Hey,
it.
no, the whole party got to do something together. It was great. On the bonefish's turn, it is going to. I don't recharge that. As you're kind of looking around, the fish itself kind of begins lowering itself, lower. It's going to use its movement to dive into the murky depths of the water around you. Make a stealth check. That's how this is working mechanically. And that's going to be Pyther's turn. Pyther, it's somewhere under the water. You know roughly the ballpark where it is. You certainly could get it if you had a large area, but you don't have direct line of sight unless you want to make me a perception check to try to spot it. in the
Sure.
murk.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nothing.
Yeah, cost you nothing.
That one.
Natural one. As you're kind of looking around, you're not sure because it could have gone in any direction. It's basically flying effectively. What would you like to do on your turn? You could hold a spell, hold an action, or you could fire blind.
I'm going to hold a firebolt.
Holding firebolt, you load up, charge, get ready to go. It's gonna be Sog's turn. Sog,
I'll wait for it to come up.
and if it comes up, what are you doing?
Swinging.
Swing. Get ready your sword. Okay. That is then going to be Camille.
I'm gonna try to look for it.
Perception check, please.
Natural 20 for a 27.
That's gonna do it. Camille, you can see the outline. It's not so much the shape of the fish. You realize the blue form is what's making it hard to see, but you catch part of the bone, the skull atop it, and are able to kind of gesture it, pointing it out to the rest of your party members.
I'm just gonna go ahead and do it again. We're gonna guiding bolt again.
Okay, and because it's deep under the water, it is gonna get a little, small cover bonus. Is that fine?
Sacred Flame ignores cover. You can get your Sacred Flame. Make a save.
Bunch more of these sparkles appearing under the water, and then suddenly those
Sorry.
pillars of light trying to stab at something under the water. I'll make a dex save. That is a natural 1.
Great.
Roll me that radiant damage as it's lit up brightly.
It'll be 11 points of damage.
11 points of damage. This fish is hurt. We're then gonna go to Val.
Whenever she lit it up, did it become visible?
You can do this now. I was gonna have you do it once it came up from the water, but if you'd like to make your shot now, you
If
can.
I can see it, I would shoot.
Sure. Go ahead and make your attack roll. And then Val, it's gonna be your turn, okay?
Sorry to steal your thunder.
No, you're
Burning
fine.
Smite does that.
Actually, do force damage.
That's going to be a 19.
19 to hit does hit, even with that small cover bonus I gave.
So that's 2d3.
Right. This offensive mode just rolling these huge dice as you're striking down against the creature. Ooh, that looks like a lot of damage. You're fine.
I'm not used to my ears yet.
He's growing into him.
15 points.
15 points of damage. Let me double check real quick. Okay. Let me describe what's happening here. You pull back on this firebolt, looking around, ready for it. When out of the corner of your eye, you see him surrounded by these pillars of light from your companion. He begins swimming up towards the surface. You see the jaws opening up wide, wider than before, unnaturally wide. A living creature would certainly snap its own jaw by doing this. And it's in that moment when a small bead of fire fires through his throat, bursts, and you watch as bits of fish bones burst out of the water in different directions. And things are still.
Amazing. Yeah.
It was just a baby. I'm just kidding.
And then the big one. I'm gonna pull up that picture one more time just to see as this beautiful creature just gets absolutely shattered by the firebolt. All these range attacks here it wasn't quite able to take you down. But more is coming. Oops, let me get you guys magicaled up. I put you back into human mode again. I'm so sorry.
Was it this much fun the first time around?
It's about the same for me, at least.
Yeah, he was just trying to swing at it the whole time. He kept pushing it further away.
Yeah. I want to be able to breathe fire though. I can't do that.
As you, oh please continue.
Before we keep, I know we're gonna. end up
Boat's
getting
still just
somewhere.
moving.
Yeah. Anybody hurt?
A little bit, but not really.
I was gonna say I have the 2 potions of greater healing that are free.
Do I
I pulled
know
them off a tree.
From last experience, if this wore off, this
So it took a while. You didn't
Okay.
have, unfortunately, the right type of medic here to cure you. No one with like restorative abilities or
I didn't prepare for lesser restoration.
remove curse.
I did prepare remove curse.
But it's at this point where you start to hear, you hear a woman call out. You hear your companion here calling out, Lurish isn't breathing. Quickly, Sog, get the potion, please. You see the human woman has the hooded woman's like sitting here. She's just trying to get a potion. The dragonborn man has a huge bite mark on his shoulder from where the fish got him.
I'll reach for the potion.
Can we use the fruit?
You're kind of here. These are just memories here. You can try as you like trying to interact with these. They just become more and more intangible here. You handing her this potion. I'm not sure if it was there before, but it was there then. Handing this over, she pops it out, tries, pours it down the dragonborn's throat, and waits and waits, and he's still. She looks up at you. She's so. Happened again. I've lost another one of these friends.
Comes with the job, Olivia. It happens. We just gotta keep pressing forward.
It's not part of the job. Sog. She like sits here. She like plays with this small necklace she has, a little clasp, and just. We have to have reasons to go home.
Let's get home then.
She, thinking about this, she kind of nods and just sits there, kind of just resting her hand on the shoulder of your fallen companion, and the boat continues. And with that, I think that we're going to have the dream sort of lurch forward, forcing you to continue further into the dream. The nightmare continues, this memory of, admittedly, a very bad day. To make sure that he stayed safe, you kept your friend's body, Lorish, you kept his body on the canoe, for it wouldn't leave without you. The lantern lit up once more, no longer having its power absorbed by that fish monster you just faced. You all find yourselves inside in the island on a small path. The path itself has these beautiful polished stones, not polished by hand. They're from a riverbed. They have this very soft sort of arch to the top of them, but you're kind of passing through here, and fight took a lot out of you. You're still struggling. You see the color in his face is receded, though he looks more, because you're here in the dream and you've activated your powers, he looks more like his modern self. He's got the gray. He's older. He's aged a bit. Maybe his gut is not quite. He doesn't have a 10-pack anymore, which is sad.
Yeah, it's just an 8. Maybe a 7.
Only
7-pack.
I can help if you want. Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that.
I need your hands.
We do a lot of hand holding.
I'm gonna hold his hands, and I'm gonna cast Remove Curse.
You watch as this young woman, because you're in your early 40s, right?
Yeah.
So you watch as this young woman, couldn't even be 20, like a little bit under 20 years old, reaches forward. The fairy wings tremble, almost like a little bit of fear, like a wish that something will work. There's always a fear of failure when you wish something, and pushes this magical energy into you. You said you're casting,
Remove Curse.
pressing through.
He's blushing.
Oh no! But as this power pushes through you, you look down. I would like you to make me either a history or an insight check with advantage, whichever you prefer.
Oh, that's tough. Let's do history. Oh, advantage.
You're fine.
18.
18. In this moment, and for the first time in a while, since you started dreamwalking, you, Camille, are recognized. You see her. You've seen this one before. This is Camille. You've seen her around campus, of course. You know Miss Lyons. You've caught her scolding her friend before, and very quickly becomes very apparent who you're dealing with. Now, whether or not you'll remember this once you wake up is anyone's guess, but
Fair enough.
you recognize who this person is. And as you do, oh yes.
Do I know the relationship that my companion is? Do I know this relationship?
You would, of course.
You
Why else work at the Lantern Hold?
probably noticed that, like, all of a sudden he gets a little very serious but very concerned look, and just say, this is not going to be a good night for you.
As you're pressing this magic into him, the strength restored, you feel, as he says this, it almost feels like your powers could continue pouring in him, and something cuts it off. The spell ends. Your strength is restored. Your spell was used properly, but some other effect is halted in this moment.
You needed healing, right?
Yeah, sure.
Hug.
Sure. Yeah, hug.
Can I
Okay,
please
hug.
use these fruit so that I can stop carrying?
Got these basketballs.
If you want want to use a fruit, you can use a fruit. But
I know you're excited.
It
to
takes
do
your whole
thing.
turn to use the fruit.
But
Okay.
if I don't get a hug now, I won't feel better.
We'll have a hug, but no magic.
Hug the
You watch
fruit.
these two
Not
young
magical
magicians-
hug.
While they're hugging, I take
There's still
the fruit
sparkles.
and
It
I
can
just
still
like
have
throw it
sparkles.
over the top of them.
Because prestidigitation.
But yes, your hug magic, your healing magic, you require hugs, I believe.
I require hugs or hand holding in order to heal people.
God, you're so sweet. Go ahead and have your bicycle, Victoria, because that's fucking adorable.
It says they're touch spells. I get to decide what the touch is.
But you're kind of sitting here. You see up in the distance your companion, the human. She's like waving her hands at you, telling you that she thinks she's found the way. And as she kind of turns, she dissipates, kind of almost as if she shatters into like small bits of dust or butterflies as she's passing away into the Feywild further to the next section of the dream here.
Before I proceed, I'll look back at you and just kind of nod and head in.
You continue walking as the Find a Friend wand begins to shake and tremble violently. At this point, the carved toothy grin begins to open wider and wider, small tufts of flame pushing out. You've seen this many times. A
This
message!
is just a horrifying way to receive a message, but we're all just like, oh, it's a
It's
friend.
happened! Absolutely. As a familiar face
mail.
to burst through here, you watch as this small creature, stony-like mask, pushing forward first, the rest of its body humanoid shaped but made of fire, as a messenger flame begins to emerge from your wand. You watch as this little creature. What was that?
Said it's little Ragnaros.
It's little. It's yes, this cute little creature. Nope, get out of here. Is this beautiful creature? Sorry, my phone yelled at me. This beautiful creature emerges from this creepy wand, admittedly creepy wand you carry with you.
I cuddle it at night.
It's only about this tall, the messenger flame. You've seen these before. We'll explain what they are in just a little bit here. As it emerges from your wand, plopping on the ground, kind of gracelessly. It doesn't have legs, it just kind of has a nebulous lower section, about a foot tall here.
Hello.
Lustershine is unsure of why you are here. Orders were not issued to you.
But the wand jingled.
So
I know you can't take the message back, but the wand jingled, so we went.
This is a very bad dream. Very bad.
You are correct. Valendra, note, there are many nightmares, but not all of them are nightmares that we will intervene with. You are not ready to be here. Come with me and leave this one to his nightmares.
I don't respond to Valindra here.
I have to see this one.
You see this little tiny creature constantly like wisping back and forth from flame. Very well. I was here to keep you safe. Therefore, as with our previous missions, use me. The little creature holds out his arms. You know that these little messenger flames, they only exist for a while. You can always throw him and he will explode if you need him to. They're not real. They're intelligent, but they don't have souls. They're just these little. They're a message and magic made manifest. This little creature.
Can I pick the creature up?
You pick up. They're like 2 pounds, maybe just very light.
I love this.
I am told this is enjoyable.
Toss.
Look at me. Look upon me, ye magical, and rejoice.
Would you like to hold him?
I've already.
You're playing with a tiny magic spirit with
Already.
a creepy voice.
I've been through this nightmare several times, ready to get.
Shall we do the slingshot trick again?
No.
Oh, that voice is very fun to do.
Would you like to hold?
I will hold this for now.
So warm.
No, we have a torch.
Okay.
Put it behind your shoulders.
You all continue through the Feywild,
I'll hold it if you
through this grove. The island is not very large. You know, the island is probably about.
Thanks, man.
It should only be about a quarter mile in radius. It's like roughly a circle. But as you're kind of walking forward, you pass by this this small moss-covered statue of an elven man resting one hand on his sword, the other is on his chest, probably like a small bow. You continue moving.
Back.
Oh, you bow to the statue?
Of course.
That's
We're
so sweet.
holding the thing.
I shall bow as well in case. It's so small. So they all have different voices. Some of them are very spunky. Unfortunately, this is one of those very neutral, very flat ones. There was one who did a Fran Drescher impression, but unfortunately, not this time.
Not this time.
Future. You all continue. I should not have canonized Fran.
This will come back to bite you.
It will.
Victoria and I will make sure of that.
Victoria, cut that. You all continue pushing through here, heading on past. There's first this bright blue. There's a blue barked tree that you pass by. You can see that as you're walking past. That's not bark. They're these strange little beetles that use the bark as camouflage. As they keep going, as you keep going further, you find patches of interlocked vines on the ground. You round further still and meet a blue-barked tree, but it's covered with beetles. And then more vines. A statue of a man with his hand on his sword and his hand on his chest to bow.
Again.
And further, a blue-barked tree, vines.
We're going.
Then you find another statue. This one broken, an elven man pointing in a different direction.
Do we follow the point or do we not follow the point? That's a big debate.
You see, the first of these broken statues you see here is just an elven man, much like the person who had the sword, who was bowing. As an elven man, you see about half of his head is of the statue is broken, just broken, not gory, not violent, but it looks like this broken statue covered in moss on one side, pointing off into another direction. His hand on his chest, ever so delicately, just pointing off in a direction.
Is he pointing away from the side of the moss?
He is pointing away from the side of the moss. Yes, Alex.
Well, I believe that moss is the opposite side of civilization, so we should go in the opposite direction of the moss.
Did you learn that in SpongeBob?
What?
Pretty sure that's a SpongeBob joke.
The moss grows on only one side of the tree.
It's not a
I
boulder.
think we should follow the
It's a rock.
pointing.
Does this remind me of anything?
You want to make a history check? This is just for you to recall what's going on in here. You roll high enough, I got a big piece of information. In fact, you have help from your companion who's still here, trudging along with you as you're lost in this magical wood.
10.
10? Good news, bad news. The good news is you do know something, but you don't remember the solution to this puzzle that you solved that day. At least not yet. The figure from before, the elven knight, is a common symbol that is used by certain elven groups in order to ward off children or people who aren't able to protect themselves from dangers. Some even say these statues appear of their own volition to protect people from stumbling into dangerous situations. This person is considered to be a protector of elves and those who are innocent.
The symbolism says that danger is probably in the direction of the broken statue.
Well, if the story that did you share the story?
Mhm.
Cool. If you're trying to make kids not go in a direction, you want them to go home, you'd point at home, right?
So go the opposite direction?
We've been going this direction. It has.
You've been going about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
doing
if you want the kids to go home, or you want people who are scared to go home, you point in the direction of safety.
Camille, I like how you're thinking. Can you give me a wisdom check here? And because you, Victoria, are on a great track, this is with advantage.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Nice.
Wisdom, just flat wisdom?
Yes, just a wisdom check.
21.
As you're saying this, kind of looking at this, you've looked at the moss, you've looked at the hands, you've looked at a couple of these statues. You've found a few more as you've walked and tried to explore, but you keep ending up back at the man with a sword.
Mm-hmm.
There's always two hands. One pointing, the other small, subtler gestures.
Oh.
These tiny little motions. And not forcing you into anything. You try, even just for a moment, following one of these subtler motions, and you find a statue you haven't seen before.
Okay, so we don't follow the big hand, we follow the little hand, like on a clock.
It'll be things like something innocuous, like your finger is, your hand is tucked into a buttoned-up shirt, and the thumb is pointing that direction.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to lead to new paths. And as she suggests this solution, you remember this is where you came to. After admittedly several hours of searching.
I love playing high wisdom characters.
Suddenly remembers that we're in the Feywild and that it's all nonsense.
It is. The Feywild is all nonsense.
I'm just gonna keep
Nonsense and
bowing
boobery, I tell you.
I love the Feywild for the nonsense.
I know we're going to do our talk about the creators at the end, but I do have to mention that some of these Feywild encounters we're seeing here were designed by Scald of Shenanigans. And Shenanigans making nonsense is exactly what I'm living for.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to continue following that path? Is there any sort of abilities that you want to use? Any sort of checks or things you want to do?
Again.
You're just switched over to scouting? Okay. Heading further in, keeping a good eye out. Everyone give me a quick perception check here, which I believe, Alex, you have advantage on because of your scouting mode. I don't have the exact text of the Magical Girl Artificer at the moment.
Do it up.
No, you're fine.
What was the check?
He has perception.
Oh, okay.
Oh, his dark vision is what it is from this.
24?
24.
I have dark.
It's higher than me.
Dark.
That's
vision.
really useful here. As you continue walking through this small grove, you can feel the progress. And as you're stepping, bounding, you guys travel 2 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles. You keep moving, the dream lurching forward, but progress is being made because of your recent discovery. And eventually you find the heart of the grove. Your destination, your mission here. No more blue beetles. Instead, the grove itself has... These trees have somewhat half sunk into the murky soil, the canopy growing dull, dim light in patches, some places even with darkness covering them. You can see what's going on in here, however, because of your scouting ability. In spite of this, there is a bit of hope. Last vestiges, perhaps, of whatever lush powers once inhabited this grove. These beautiful pink-orange flower petals that are sort of dotting some of the trees, bits of vines that are pushing up on other ones. The floor itself covered in, these thick vines, which you've come to know during your time here. Maybe Camille stumbles a little bit on some of these vines as you're walking.
I'm a little distracted.
As you're walking past. As you're kind of here, other than these petals, that appears to be all the sources of relief in this gloomy grove. With that,
Mr. Sock, what is the mission? Why are we here? Why are you here? We know why we're here.
Why am I here? I know I'm here to kill something, because they told us to.
Give me, this is going to be a history check with advantage. While you're looking at this small creature, I am told you generally give me a name for these missions.
Lord.
Balorb? Balorb!
Balorb it is.
Balorb!
Do you like it?
As a reminder, please be sure to throw me face first should you need to use me as an improvised weapon.
Continue to do the tongues.
I will enhance the powers of your magic so that you can cure the darkness in the hearts of those of Lister Academy.
Buddy, I'm gonna throw you as soon as possible.
Would you like to be the one to throw him this time?
Do you want to do the slingshot?
I
do it.
appreciate this,
Do the thing.
whether or not it is sarcasm, as you have with 12 of the previous 23 of my kind. I would appreciate it if my existence was ended sooner rather than later.
There's no way that you could know that. They've all exploded.
Wait, there's only 23? What happens when we reach 24?
This is your 23rd mission?
Oh, okay.
Or 24th, I did the math.
24.
Would it would only be the 22nd since we didn't leave and this was an unsanctioned mission.
I was unable to get you to leave, therefore I am supervising you, at least until my death.
What an adorable
Yay.
supervisor.
So we get to
Can't
pick
pitch
our own
his teeth.
missions so long as this guy shows up.
Uh-huh.
Have
Luster
Balorb.
Shine will be speaking with you to determine if you shall continue as Dreamwalkers.
I had a feeling.
The creature itself, like, it's got a small smiley face. I gotta bring it up again because it's so cute. It's got this smiley face, but it absolutely
I like the armor.
does not seem to care.
These
They're
like,
smart. You tried to trick these guys before. You know they will give information they're permitted to give. It's hard to get anything else.
was gonna say-
He's gonna fire us.
I would die for Balorb.
these
It is
sound,
uncertain.
He'll die for you.
These sound like waking problems. We're here to solve dream problems.
but-
It is
I
true.
can't have
Dream
dream-
problems are my prerogative.
I want them to be our prerogative, though.
Then do well.
Okay, we have
Let
to
me just throw this
Okay,
guy.
here,
He's
take the
stressing
lore.
you out.
I'm stressed.
I had briefly
kidding.
enjoyed the warmth of your comfort. Goodbye.
Can I just toss him over my shoulder?
You take Blorb back.
One last hug. I hate that we have
He's
to
so warm, but never burns you. He does, however, explode for 2d8 plus your dexterity or strength modifier, whichever is higher.
Can I have you in real life, please?
Wait, do these normally come to us in the dream world?
They're normally coming to you in the real world to tell you to go to go.
Right,
here.
that's what I thought.
They help you. He can.
No, I want Balor back, not the other ones.
I like how we're putting emphasis on the buh.
I'm gonna pull up this picture for this. His clay-like face almost seems to move, his smile growing slightly wider. Cinders flickering in this evening like portion of the Feywild, giving warmth to this cold, deadened grove. Blorb looks at you, reaching out one of his small tendrils of flame for his hands, and places it upon your cheek, just the back of his hand. I am sorry. I am soon to die.
I'm crying.
It's gonna get messy.
Permanency makes me considerably more expensive.
Wait, I can afford things.
Then commission a future Blorb.
I will, Blorb. I'll get you back.
Your friends
Can I
form
just like
usual
grab
attachment.
like a leaf or something and then like tie it around his mouth so he stops?
Leave Balor alone.
As you're kind of looking around this, you sense movement. Looking off to the side of the grove, especially with your dark vision, you see her. A humanoid woman. As she steps out of the darkness, you can see her skin, a deep, I would call it sage green. Like it's a little bit less vivid than some of the colors you've seen here. But her dress, hundreds of beautiful pink, yellow, orange petals, and she begins to frolic through the grove. You watch as she takes a deliberate motion, dancing by each tree, extending her palm to the trunk, frowning as her request for a dance is denied. She pirouettes through the grove even further still, extends her palm to yet another of these trees, and is denied. And finally, for a third time, she goes to the grandest tree in the center, the heart of the grove. And she's thrice denied here for a dance. As she continues this dance, she hasn't quite noticed you or anything you're doing as she's dancing around. Her skirt billowing outwards. You see layers and layers of these petals, these gorgeous petals, as this nymph, this beautiful sort of creature. Rare, I would ask for either nature or arcana checks to know information about this sort of creature. And there's also a history check for the recall if you ever want to do that, Connor.
What was
15.
I'll do a nature.
For the recall.
Yeah, what was the result on the remembering for his mission?
Remember your mission here was actually to deal with, there was a corruption in the heart of the grove that was choking it, throttling it. The creatures here had been slain by some force, and because when life dies in the Feywild, repeatedly over and over, it kills the Feywild. The Feywild is the realm of life. Just as the Shadowfell is the form of undeath, which is why seeing an undead, that bone wraith, is a big problem in the Feywild.
Got a 7.
But you didn't roll high enough. You didn't break a 20 to know what the corruption was.
I got a 17 on the nature check.
15 on mine.
On the nature check or the recall check?
The nature check.
Nature.
Nature check, then I can tell you about nymphs. Nymphs are dancing, fey, sort of plant hybrid kind of creatures. These creatures often are found, they often used to be found in particularly magical groves, elven forests, and the Feywild, but have become nearly extinct with the death of the god of elves, Coralon. And so seeing one here, even though it was probably 15, probably, no, not 15, would be almost 20 years ago now, it would be very hard to find a nymph even then. But you see your spectral companion kind of begins walking out quietly. She's waiting for you. She's looking out towards the nymph, kind of confused by what's happening here. You're all seeing this person dancing.
I'm not paying attention to the dancing lady.
Did you dance with her?
I don't remember.
We could try.
If the
I will hand you Balorb.
if
I'm
the
going to-
trees refuse to dance, wouldn't that make them wallflowers?
Oh my god.
You know, there's perks to being that.
Oh. Where are your
I went
bicycles?
there.
Give me all of your dice.
I went there.
Give me all your dice.
You can you can no longer roll d20s.
Burn this.
Yeah.
Turn in your
Your largest die is now a d12. Plan accordingly.
Great.
Wow, that's a big debuff. As you're kind of here, it seems that the nymph finally takes a look at you.
I don't think she can
She
see
begins
us,
to just she just begins dancing, spinning around. She's still probably about 40 feet out from you. You see that she kind of begins spinning. It's very delicate, and she's able to kind of rotate and
We
rotate.
should dance.
and
Let's
rotate.
Can-
dance. What
Can
is
I-
you're dancing with her?
I'm gonna call out my name to her.
Can I?
I want to dance with her.
She turns, begins kind of getting a little bit closer, continuing to dance.
She's sus.
I would like to dance
You're
with her.
sus. You want to come and dance with her?
Yes.
Absolutely. You want to come up? She
Wait,
says-
Yes, I take her
before,
hand.
Before that, I want to cast Detect Magic on her.
She's a nymph.
She's a nymph. She's magical.
I so absolutely trust a nymph instantly.
Begin cast. Are you casting it as using a spell slot?
Yes.
Okay, so you get the first. It's the first round of it. Is their magic? Is that correct? Can you double check the exact text for
No
detect magic?
presence of magic within 30 feet.
Are you getting within 30 feet of her to use detect magic with her?
Yes.
So you do sense magic. This is a magical creature, but there is something more than there. Can you pull up the spell text for detect magic while I continue the narration here with Clella? Please and thank you.
I definitely have bolt. Like
She
big
reaches
bolt
out her
things.
hand.
Yeah.
You can place your hand in hers.
Wait, she
Um,
notices us?
Yes.
Yes.
But so did the other
So did the
creatures.
once you guys use your magic powers, you're in the nightmares. They're not just memories anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
This has been happening the whole time. You're fine. That's not the sus part.
Okay.
And she
I was
just
getting
she grabs your
sussed
hand.
out.
She's a little firm, and she begins to lead a fine, like, I don't want to say ballroom dance because it's not so strict. There's no rules. There's no meter. Alex, you have that for me?
Yes, for the duration, you sense a presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any.
Cool. Good news and bad news. Good news, Alex, very good. Bad news, 30-foot range. So the other two are you're not within 30 feet, is that correct?
I'm very hesitant.
I'm nervous.
Perfect. The two of you standing
I'm busy.
still close, but not quite within 30 feet.
I instantly trust a pretty face.
That's one of your.
He has
I'm
been
gonna
telling
ask-
us
One
this
of my
whole time, don't trust anything pretty.
I need a wisdom saving throw from both my dearest Alex, from our Pyther, I should say, and from our very green-skinned Val. A wisdom save.
Absolutely.
I love that your flaw came into play in a session.
Chloe's flaw?
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I did say yes
Pretty.
before I thought about it.
It was a 3. It was a
Okay.
nat 1.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, mine is wisdom.
Wisdom doesn't get.
You open your
I
mouth
know.
to begin to say something to your party members, and can't help but stop and admire this nymph. She is quite beautiful, though she's more like a human than a halfling. But the way she dances is just so alluring. And she pulls in your companion so close. Is it summer in here? Like, what's going on? It's warm.
Starting to sweat.
Starting to sweat just a little bit. What was your result?
Is this a charm effect?
This is a charm effect. You would roll with advantage. You're right.
I remember what was on that
Yeah.
die. 16.
That is a pass. As you step closer, you watch as her eye twitches a little bit as you press down on one of the vines underneath your feet in the underbrush. Something is wrong. I need the whole party to roll for initiative here. As the ground begins to stir. Alex was the one who distrusted it the most, but he failed to save. Oh no!
I was just gonna throw Blorb at it. Just 2 birds with 1 stone, but I was like, we'll wait.
Who has
Hold on.
Glorb actually?
Balorb, I handed over
Balorb.
at the end.
You
But
have
it's like-
Balorb in your hands.
We were we are really.
Valor was over here like,
the bee.
what are you doing? Why are you doing this right now?
Trying to cover his
I
mouth.
Dancing.
Stop,
I already
stop.
explored.
I'm gonna smother him.
You smell the fire? Initiative. We're gonna start with Sog.
5.
5. Keep going.
10.
That's 10 for our dearest Pyther.
14.
14. Ooh, you beat the nymph. 14 for Camille.
11.
11 for Val. Camille, as all of this is happening, you see this creature is dancing. You watch as your companion one of your companions is dancing with this nymph. The other one is kind of looking at her with first suspicion and then just admiration, holding as he's smothering the mouth of the little messenger flame in his arms.
My ears go back.
His ears just go back, floppy. You see something a bit strange as underneath the hems of this creature's skirt, you watch these large, bulbous green plant materials opening up, long teeth-like spines. You want to see what this looks like?
Yeah.
As this nymph reveals its true nature, as it opens up the Venus flytraps underneath. Huh? It is a false nymph. As the creature is opening,
True nature as false.
actually,
Yeah, I know.
you've heard of these false creatures. You remember, you learned about them after the fact. Once you came to the Lanternal, false creatures born by demonic, typically, or other evil natures, are these bastardizations of genuine, beautiful creatures. Some good, some bad, but all false creatures are evil, regardless of the creature they are based off of. I don't know what that is, but can I know?
Pass it.
As you're here, initiative here. Today's not the first.
No, ignore that.
Ignore that.
That was the previous.
Ah.
We use one note card per thing, so
Yeah,
we
we
just
use
know what
Do
conversations
keep
we
friends
had.
if they're
We
about
do use
secrets in
a
D&D.
We use a singular note card per session, so it gets to be very confusing as we go along.
Camille.
We write
Especially if you read the first part out of context. Today's not the first.
The way I'm going to handle this is
I forgot what the question was.
basically we're kind of in between steps of if you were surprised or not. So what I'm going to do is if you're casting a spell, or you're making an attack roll, I'm giving you disadvantage, and if you're doing a saving throw, I'm giving it advantage. But you can kind of see this. We're kind of using half surprise.
I was gonna say I've got really high insight.
You watch as this creature begins coming up, and you see these massive bulbs look like they're about to try to devour some of your friends. What are you gonna do? Some of the vines begin lifting up in this room.
I'm going guiding bolt. We're not gonna do this. Disadvantage?
Disadvantage. You fire this beam out towards your companion at this creature.
19 to hit.
19 is a miss. It is at this point my players realized they're in danger.
A 9.
A 19 is a miss, unfortunately. Anything else on your turn, Camille?
I shed a singular tear.
That is going to be the false nymph's turn. You watch as like the top of her head goes kind of limp as these massive bulbs come out, ready to bite and attack at you. But first, I'm going to go ahead and make her first 3 attacks with the vines. And you watch as 3 attacks, 1 at each of your companions. Whap, whap. Actually, 2 at we're gonna do 2 at Camille, 1 at Sog. We're not gonna attack our charmed ally here. She's going to move. She still has you in her arms, right? You're dancing. Is that
Yes.
still correct?
Are they
Somebody-
melee?
Yes, but in just a moment, she just begins moving and dancing, and as she does, those of you who aren't charmed can see the floor wriggle and writhe. She's encompassing the heart of the grove. She is the corruption. We're gonna go ahead and start. Camille, 2 attacks coming at you. One of them looks like it's gonna be a hit.
Yeah, 17 to hit.
Yeah, 19 on the die.
Great.
Also, it's actually gonna be 4 attacks with the vine, so 2 are coming at you as well, Sog.
Okay.
Looks like both of them might hit. They're both above a 20.
Okay, I'll shield to see if I can not get hit.
What is your AC? With
The
shield?
shield is 23.
Only one of these is gonna hit then.
Cool.
You have a response for me as you're struck by these vines that attack and grapple you.
It'll be 10 points of radiant damage.
10 points of radiant damage. The creature doesn't
How much damage
hiss.
does it do me?
I haven't rolled the damage yet. I was asking for your, because you were doing your.
Because if it hits me twice, I may have 2 responses depending on damage.
That's totally fair. Doesn't use your reaction to use your ability,
No,
correct?
no, it's just part of my transform. It's while I have temporary hit points.
Does no damage. You are grappled.
I'm just grappled, does no damage?
You're just grappled.
Okay, so it doesn't do any damage to it.
You take no damage if it's just a hit but not damage.
It says if it was an attack.
Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, 10 points of radiant
10 points of radiant damage. You can tell it because it's burning away some of this vine. You did 10 points of damage to the vine? That is.
It's a melee attack. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while you have these hit
I hit
points.
you with a melee attack.
Okay, great. Yeah, 10 points of radiant damage.
10 points of damage is exactly enough. The vine wraps around you and burns away as you do. Tufts of beautiful spiraling green light echoing outwards, and you watch as like wind pushes out, levitating ever so slightly off the ground. Your fairy wings begin fluttering. That was she failed to grapple you with those attacks. Connor, there was no damage for you, but you were grappled. I'm going to also make one attempt to swallow our dearest Val.
Do it.
Val, does a 17 hit you?
It does.
Val, the creature, like the puppet-like appendage on the top of it stops dancing, lets go of you as this massive Venus flytrap swallows you whole. You are blinded, restrained, and you're gonna take some acid damage here as this creature swallows you whole. Not so great. That is going to be 19 points of acid damage. And it's the start of its turn is when that damage happens. And you, as it does, it siphons energy out, and all of you outside would see the vines themselves radiate glowing energy as it is restored by the health that is taken from her. You've seen this before, my friend, and you know how this ended last time.
I took damage.
You took 19 damage, yes.
Cool, I'm gonna use a reaction.
Please do. What do you have for me?
I'm going to Hellish Rebuke.
Don't. I would appreciate it if you did not.
I do have a
The
function,
fire
correct.
within?
Yeah.
The fire within.
So I'm going to pull up the text because I wasn't planning on casting this spell.
I love Hellish Rebuke.
Okay. Val is next, and Pyther's after Val.
It's why I love Tiefling.
Okay, I need
warlocks.
a Dex save.
Okay, I'm actually gonna give myself. So it's to avoid this attack.
No, it's when I take damage.
Right. So you're using this ability, which releases fire, which people can try to dodge out of the way.
Yeah.
You're inside of it. I failed the dex save.
Cool. Let's see.
You want to talk about rules as written versus rules as intended? Well, this is about creators, homebrew.
Is it 10?
As you burn away, the fire certainly effective here in this instance against the plant, burning
24
out.
points of fire damage.
24 points of fire damage. You know that this thing takes enough damage, you can get it to throw her up, but not quite enough yet.
Cool.
As you begin burning your way out, small holes begin burning out. As you're furiously pushing out, those of you who are inside can see like one of her arms push out, green sparkle shooting out in one direction. These are very sparkly. You're magical girls. You know we know what you're about.
We know what we are.
Is that it for your turn, Val?
That was my reaction. So I will.
Oh, good, because that was the false names. It is now your turn,
Turn.
Val.
Cool.
Now you are restrained.
Uh huh.
Okay, you have disadvantage on most forms of things.
Uh huh. I'm
Uh-huh.
not making an attack roll. I would like I'm gonna need a con save. As I thunderstep out of this situation.
I will actually attempt this save. All right, with the con save. Oh, okay, pretty good. That's gonna be an 18.
That does pass.
So I think I take half damage.
But I will still get to teleport
All right.
to safety.
You watch as this bowl, previously filled with what is slowly becoming the silhouette of your recent companion, suddenly expands outward and pops. That one Venus flytrap explodes outwards. 2 or 3 more lifting up, ready to swallow other beings.
So
Disappears out.
Spicy Eladrin.
18 points of thunder damage, so halved for the success in a 10-foot radius around me.
Incredible. You watch that head pops, and when I describe them as multiple of these like Venus flytraps, they all combine around her. It's really like you can only swallow one of these creatures. There's only enough to swallow a creature at a time. But you pop pieces of like basically like you seen aloe before, like in its raw form. You see just like this goo bursting out as you defeat this creature. As you burst free from its grasp, you find yourself further away. That's a bonus action.
That's
For
an
Thunder-
action.
It's an action for Thunderstep?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Misty
correcting me
Step.
on that one.
Misty Step is
Misty is the bonus. And is there anything else on your turn, Val?
No, that's going to be it for me. Those are both of my spell slots.
You
More
see,
rounds.
the creature is now almost fully rotated upside down. More of these grasping mouths coming out. The vines now very clearly delineated around the section, and you see underneath, though the almost corpse-like body of the nymph is still hanging there. Now it's got fury on its face as it stares down at you.
So tired of pretty faces that have nothing
Oh.
behind them.
It's gonna be Pyther's turn. Sog, you're on deck.
You said that I was
I think you
charmed.
skipped my turn.
No, Sog, you're initiative 5. You're after Pyther.
No? Oh, okay. There was like something I guess that happened before where I was confused. All right.
Oh, you haven't gone yet. This is round 1.
Okay.
Pyther,
You
you're
noticed
charmed
that.
this turn,
Yeah.
which means looking at what's going on, this is just a nymph dancing. You can see that she's kind of wibbling and wobbling around. However, you do get to make another save of these at the end of your turn. Would you like to say anything to your companion while you're here charmed? He's trying to get out of your hands. He's like really wrestling with you. This messenger flame is very annoyed with you. What are you doing? Why are you just standing there? There's enemies to behold. Use your magical powers granted you by love, affection, friendship, and luster shine.
I'm just staring off into
kind
space.
of just a little drool. You're just like looking at this nymph. Make a wisdom save at the end of your turn. Messenger Flame is sitting here doing
Oh,
your
you're
best.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put a d6 on that.
Okay. Then that is a 16.
16. It breaks, and suddenly you're able to see the whole horrifying scene. You could see burst. You see just in this moment, you see your friend burst some of these magical plant pieces away. But battle is fully on. Sog has got his weapon out, ready to fight.
Can't do nothing.
No, that's the end of your turn. We're gonna go to Sog.
I will weapon burst and swing at the vines.
Okay. Drawing out your weapon, activating your weapon burst, swinging out at more of these vines. There's only so many of them before it's fully done.
Does a 15 hit?
15 against the vines is unfortunately still a miss.
I'll swing
You strike.
again.
They're so thick. It's hard because these vines are able to easily lift up a whole human.
11.
11's not going to be enough. You try to hack away at these vines, and you watch as another one of the vines comes through, wraps around your spectral companion, and begins pulling this specter of your former companion here closer and closer towards the main body. It is then going to be the Grove's turn. Are you still carrying those plants? Those seeds? You used one of them, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So still I got one.
To make
There,
the DC a little
cool.
bit higher. Alex, that would have been bad had you not had a piece of the Feywild with you for its intended purpose. As you are all staying here, you feel the Grove invoking something afraid of being forgotten, afraid of being lost. Each of you on this turn may add a d4 to a single attack roll, saving throw, or skill check. You have a d4 you can use for any of those rolls until the end of the round. We're going to start on the top of the next round. Camille, it is your turn. They try to eat your friend.
Is the Grove a bard?
I know how
The bless spell.
I know how this ends. And so I'm gonna cast a 3rd level spiritual weapon.
Oh, beautiful.
As
What
a-
weapon do you conjure as a magical girl? You create this huge-sized weapon behind you.
It is my wand.
Oh, it's so
It's
creepy.
effectively a mace, but it's a wand.
You see this giant crescent moon. Big teeth, toothy grin, huge eyes begin floating behind you, come to strike the main creature, or are you hitting the smaller vines?
I'm hitting the main. I'm done. I'm hitting the main creature.
Okay, roll your attack. Also,
It's
that
a-
d4 can be added after you determine the number.
3rd level spiritual weapon, so it's 2d8 for damage. So I'm gonna hit. Let's see, 13 plus 7, 13, 20 to hit.
20 is exactly its armor class.
I'll be 10 points of radiant damage.
10 points of radiant damage. Not a lot on the damage, but you can see all of this is
It
going
was force
through.
damage. My apologies.
Force damage. Nothing resists force damage. That's
Just in
almost
case,
nothing.
Just
force
in
damage.
case.
You strike against the creature, it's rocked to the side, and you watch as it begins continuing its biting motion, heading closer and closer to the group, closer to the spectral woman.
Attack ability save.
Attack abilities, D20 rolls.
Cool.
Yeah, just do D4 to that. That is going to be the false nymph's turn. Seeing what's going on, it is now going to make a single vine attack at all of you.
Does it know that I'm not charmed?
Yes. It's a magical effect from the charm. It's aware of when it's broken. In word they roll. All right. That's going to be 21.
It hits.
14 to hit Alex.
Miss.
Hilariously high above 20. 26.
Okay.
Natural 1 against Camille. So that means who got hit?
I'm going to give a helping hand to our new adventurer friend, our groundskeeper.
Using helping hand, you watch as
A D4 to raise his AC plus 2. Does
One
that
of-
make it not hit? It's okay.
you want to, okay. You watch as one of these bells flies off of her massive spiritual weapon, flying towards you, is struck and shattered by this vine, and it still wraps around you. The weapon is still intact. It just is able to protect people in this way.
Yeah, I have 4 uses of helping hand, which
4
means I
uses?
can try to stop things.
If you're hit, you take no damage but are grappled. I'm then going to attempt to swallow Camille this turn. Camille?
I wasn't grabbed.
So I have 2
I know.
vines on.
I don't need you to be grabbed.
Oh, okay. What do I do?
No, I do need you to be grabbed. I'm so sorry. In that case, make a decision here. Okay.
Can I ask
Pull-
a question real quick?
Please.
When you were doing the attack with the vine, was that to also see if we got grabbed?
So here's how I'll let you know how this works mechanically, and you can check these out later by going and looking at the Spicy Encounters 5e. So the way this works is it's an attack roll. It does not deal damage. The vine attacks just are grapples.
Okay. Can
But-
I?
so you
can
still
I
were attacked?
willingly fail?
You know,
Jump in.
rules is written. No, I think that's very very fun.
Sorry.
I'm gonna make a die roll to see what she does here. But if you want to willingly be grappled, I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
Okay, your speed will become 0. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. One of the vines wraps around you. You willingly let this kind of grab you. She begins pulling you closer and closer. I'm gonna make a decision if I'm going to try to swallow you or the spectral lady. I'm gonna try to swallow this spectral adventurer, and you watch as the creature pulls her in tightly and swallows her. You watch as all of these different Venus flytraps begin sinking these spines into her, swallowing her whole. As the nymph, now upside down, continues to dance and spin, you can see, though she doesn't make a sound, as if she's cackling as the creature continues its battle. That is going to be Val's turn. Val, what do you have? Pyther, you're on deck.
I am grappled.
Yes.
But I can still cast normally. Seeing someone be attacked, even though they're in the dream, I think I'm going to. First, I'm gonna Eldritch Blast. Spirit roll both.
Firing these, again, really strong attacks here. It's a 20 AC, though. It's the hard part.
So one is well above 20.
Do you want to use your bless?
Oh, I hit
Four.
twice.
Oh, you hit both. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, one is well above 20.
Well, my apologies.
Assuming I'm within 30 feet of someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
We're standing next to each other.
Yeah, we're saying I teleported.
All very close range this combat. Go ahead and roll your damage as you strike, knocking this creature back. Gets shunted backwards further away from the party. Total damage?
9.
9 points.
Does your Eldritch Blast
You
have
add-
anything to add?
You add your charisma to both rolls.
Oh shoot. Okay, then that's going to be
19.
19.
19.
That's way
Huge
different.
hit. 20. This creature is bloody. It is incredibly hurt, this creature. But as it's kind of flailing around, we're going to go to Pyther's turn. Pyther, at the start of your turn, the Blorb looks up to you. This isn't how this should work. Something is interfering with the nightmares. You all should run. This is dangerous. You shall not be shunted if you die here. It's kind of like informing you, if you die here, you'll die. This isn't, the school days are over here. Something is wrong.
I'm just gonna sigh, annoyed at Blorb again, and then I'm going to prepare a spell.
Ooh, you're holding for something?
Yes, I'm holding a spell.
I need to know the trigger for you to cast
Getting
a spell.
swallowed.
Huh?
Getting swallowed.
Are you holding a leveled spell or a cantrip?
It's
Just letting
a
you
level spell.
letting you know if it doesn't happen, then you lose the spell slot anyway. Just letting you know.
Okay.
Okay. Because I didn't know that first.
Victoria, thank you for giving backup. Alex, I like your play. This is going to be very fun. I'm excited to see what happens there. You don't have to tell me the spell. I trust you to be consistent on this one. We're going to then go to Sog's turn. Sog, what do you have for me?
Can I Misty Step out of this vine?
Yes. You disappear suddenly. Your heavy armor clanking really loudly as you strike the ground.
Be
blade
right
in
in
hand.
front of the thing that swallowed my
Absolutely.
friend. I'll take my swings.
You hear underneath, ever so veiled, you hear a woman's voice calling out for you.
So for spell strike, is that just because I know I have multi-attack, but if you
It's-
cast
it's
a spell,
bonus
just,
action to use your spell combat to imbue a spell.
It says when you make an attack with a weapon, you can instead imbue your weapon, discharging it on a hit.
So
You do
you have to cast the spell first. You put it in your weapon. You have one ability. One ability gives you.
So you can't
quicken.
do it on the same turn. To
You can if you didn't use Misty Step.
Okay,
Normally,
gotcha.
bonus action, put it in. Yes.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can
I was
still
wondering
weapon
how
burst,
that works.
or you can still use your weapon burst as sword here.
Yeah, I'll take 2 swings.
Okay.
22s on both.
22s will both hit. Roll that damage, and because of that force damage, you might be able to see your companion once
This is
more.
I did fire damage or fire on my sword.
You watch as the skies above you are dark. It's not night. It's gone. It's just black
do you need
above
it
you over the
separate?
roof. No, I don't. All of this goes through here.
30 points of damage.
30 points of damage. You watch as bursting out, you see your archer companion rolling down. Seeing you here fight, she begins drawing out her weapon, begins firing at this creature, joining the fight. You see huge acid burns on her, but she's continuing the fight. Anything else in your turn, Sog?
That's it.
Got another one here. Even with your bonus for having the fruit on you, unfortunately, not as good on this turn. I'm going to need each of you to make me a Constitution saving throw. The grove itself just kind of begins kind of shaking. This almost purple-like mist pervading every bit of the space here.
Yeah.
Con save.
Con save. Natural 1.
Okay. Fail.
14.
Pass.
11.
Fail.
21.
Pass. Anyone who failed is going to take 7 points of necrotic damage. If you
Ooh.
passed, you take 3 points of necrotic damage.
First time I take it.
Was that was not a melee attack?
No, this is actually there's basically these purple mists that are pushing in
And
from the grove.
I'm now out of that. I no longer have temporary hit points unless I
Oh.
channel divinity.
So
again.
you're out of temp hit points.
Correct. I was letting you know, unless I channel divinity again, I can't do it anymore.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and keep on going in that case. It's going to be the top of the round. It is Camille's turn. Camille, the woman inside has been free. You see now she steps back, her ghostly form becoming more solid than you've seen it as she's fighting alongside Sog. What do you have for me, Camille? What is it, Victoria? Would you like to talk?
I'm very, very sad. And I'm channeling all of that into I think the first amount of rage my character has ever felt.
You want to talk? You want to give us more information?
As a bonus action, I'm going to attack with my spiritual weapon on the main body.
Incredible. Okay.
17 plus 7 is 24.
Hilariously hits. Okay. If you had the D4 and you didn't use it last round, it is gone. It only lasted the round.
9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. Okay. It looks incredibly hurt here.
And then I'm going to cast a second level guiding bolt.
Nice.
24 to hit.
24 hits.
Only 18 points of damage. This is radiant damage. Next attack
18
against
more
it
points
has
of radiant damage.
and the next attack against it has advantage. That is my turn. I've done everything I can.
I would like to do something for flavor. You guys up for some spice? It is spicy encounters did make this.
We love flavor here.
I know that you go before Python.
Yeah.
The false nymph goes actually next in the order here. So kind of basically just combine the false nymph's turn and Camille's turn here. Camille, you fire this golden light as it's firing through the air. Your spiritual weapon is striking against this beast as it hurts your friends. It hurts your new friend. He called you your friend earlier. This woman backing up as you're striking against this. The creature then reaches out, pulling in Pyther. Pyther, what spell did you cast as it's trying to swallow you?
Enlarge, reduce.
You want to get big?
No. Blorb is gonna get big.
Yes.
You didn't plan for this.
Big blorb is all I've ever
I made
wanted.
your character sheets. I planned for this. I finalized them. But all right. Flavorfully how it works. Normally it would be 2d8 damage. If you want to roll 4d8 dice, just so we can know the overkill here. As he enlarges Blorb here, as Blorb bursts outwards. This pressure inside, not the false nymph, not quite able to contain it, as it is struck by a guiding bolt and shatters. As it does, it's like someone turning on a light bulb. You watch as this creature begins burning, withering away, its vines each rippling away. If you ever seen flash paper or like a quick release, quick burn wick for like fireworks, burning away, this hissing sound filling the area, as suddenly the trees themselves begin to right themselves, this flame billowing upwards into the blackened sky above as the dream begins to quake, the nightmare quelled. How much damage was that, by the way, Alex? 25 points of damage!
Blorb.
You watch the dream itself beginning to become undone. The sky is gone, the trees themselves beginning to dim. You stand here in this grove. Whatever was holding the nightmares here has been quelled. The grove has been saved. And you stand next to her here. She looks up at you. Oh, stop it! I don't know why that does that. But she looks over, you see Olivia kind of just staring in your eyes. Well, time to get home to the kids, huh?
Yeah,
When are we gonna get you shacked up with somebody?
that's never gonna happen.
I know some really nice ladies at the Lantern Hold.
Keep pressing. I'll
Oh.
keep resisting.
Come on, I know a redhead. Hey, Patricia, she's got these big tusks. Huge. Makes yours look like, like molars. Big tusks.
Okay, I'm not guaranteeing it's gonna go anywhere.
All
but
right.
I appreciate that.
And she kind of just smiling, making these jokes. She turns, and you watch as this form kind of stops. There's color to her skin ever so slightly here as she turns, and as the dream here is fading, as the nightmare is breaking, as your powers, this glitter just kind of flying up on you. You're still in your inner selves, in these dream forms here. She looks up to you. And there's a bond here with the magic. She steps a bit closer. Cammy, you've grown so big.
I've missed you.
You see your mother, who you never really got to know, but there's this magical connection in the moment as you get to connect through the dreams of someone who has been kind to you here. She steps closer, reaches out, holds your hand. Waffle, never pancake, none of that. And just this warm hug as you're standing here. Have you made good friends?
Yeah, we just fought together to help.
She kind of looks around, kind of taking you in. Oh, so you have. Is the dream beginning to fade? She just looks to each of you, giving these sort of gentle nods. It was a better way to end the fight, I think.
I wish I had gone this way.
In another life. It is at this point, Sog, that you open your eyes. A couple of things. A bit odd. There are three, 17 to 19-year-olds standing at the side of your bed, looking down at you. One of them's holding a weird, crazy magic staff. You remember your dream, and you feel something. You've cast spells many times. These are children. They've been studying books. You've cast spells. You know what it's like to complete magic, to use a magic spell. And you holding this, you have a decision to make with it. And I'll leave that up to you. This magic welling inside you. But there is another being here. Like a shadow pressed up against the wall and roof of your room. Darkened, but you see these two eyes piercing through. The creature has recoiled as you prematurely have exited your dream. It looks down, confused. Again, still flat up against the wall, only pushing out to become this sort of shadow-like form, fury in its eyes as it looks to you. Looks down at this little halfling holding a small ceramic mask in his hand. This undead creature known as a Bastellus looks down.
You've ended my feast early. I'll have to just eat your flesh instead.
Can I take this power and run up and just grab it in the face and just unleash it?
You watch as he pulls the sheets back and you see his silver armor here as he stands up. You want to invoke the power?
Yeah.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
As he stands up, you watch as boom, 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 motes of sparkling light filling past him. For a moment, you hear a jingling bell as his armor turns not a dull rusted silver and browns here, but a brilliant purple, gilded with rims of gold, a cloak forming out of light itself as he reaches into this night terror demon, places his palm upon it, and strikes down this undead creature. As he breathes, flexing a bit of the magic you've brought into his dream. I'm excited to see where these Dreamwalkers go, as you've brought their powers into reality for them and perhaps for yourself and perhaps them.
Well, you
Oh no,
brought
the
me
night
back out of
terror-
retirement.
The night terror broke your window.
This little halfling, you don't recognize the halfling.
They don't let me wake up and we're still
As you
here.
kind of reach out, you realize you could let them use their powers here. You could activate that wand. You have actual arcane knowledge. You just had to choose it. But for future adventures of them, we will have to wait. As you're all standing here, your dreams safe, you got to bond with your mother, you got to hop around and, well, your parents don't have to know about tonight. That is where we're going to end the session itself. But what I'm really excited about tonight was getting to throw together all of these different creators and homebrew. I really would love to talk about them. Do you guys have some time? Can we
Yeah.
take a bit here?
Yeah, I'm
to
sorry,
actually-
I'm crying.
We kind of drift away. I'll give my exposition here as we pull back from one difficult night here in Lister Academy in the Lantern Hold. Heroes of a school, of dreams. Now their powers perhaps will blossom into something further. With this last adventure from your past, maybe you'll take up the sword again and be more than just a groundskeeper.
So I'm coming out of retirement.
Shit, I was just 2 weeks from retirement. Well, I want to bring up real quickly the creators here so I can give everyone a quick refresher and let everyone know what everyone made so we can kind of talk about it. And I would love to hear your thoughts on the different pieces of homebrew real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up this list here. So this is in an absolutely random order here. So Brave, who you can see here on the bottom left, they create the Shattered Realities setting, which is for tonight, what you saw from Brave was the Messenger Flame, which is a magical item, but also a creature from the Shattered Realities, which are essentially these floating worlds, fragments of places that once were, they were all like connected, but now they're held together by these massive chains. The core setting is available freely over at braitherpg.com. All of the links for what we're talking about are all going to be in the description of this. They've got new races, and just like you saw with the Messenger Flame, there's creatures and magic items. Let me bring us back over here to the final mode, where I'm going to go ahead and include the new and improved Sog here. We also have Never Not DM, or GM Ben, as I've seen him on Twitter as well, who made the Bonefish Wraith, who, gotta say, there's so few good aquatic encounters. It's hard to run good water ones.
It's a fun one.
That was a
I like that
fun
monster.
fight. I was nervous. I was like, do I have to cast light? Because I was like, can we see this monster at all? I was really scared that it was a dark encounter with something in the water, which is already terrifying.
Scary.
Speaking of dark, it actually had the power to siphon light. That's what turned off your lantern.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if it had survived their turn, it was going to siphon the light from your radiant. It wouldn't have canceled the effect, but it heals from eating light. So Never Not DM has made a lot of stuff. It was actually really hard to choose what to make. They've actually had they had kind of apt for this session. They've actually made Professor Gilroy's Guide to the Fae, which I thought was going to go along with what we'll talk about here with Scald here in just a second. But I saw the fish and I really wanted to run a water encounter because I just never get a chance to. When our players haven't been big on like pirate campaigns necessarily. Okay, Victoria excluded.
I was a pirate.
Scald made the. Let me go pull up Scald so you can see the Feywild collection. The Feywild collection is one of the many different collections of encounters that they've made. I actually was exposed to Scald of Shenanigans first through, there was this collection of like traps and puzzles known as Kathy's Crafty Collection, which had a bunch of traps and puzzles, which are really great for like new GMs, new dungeon masters, and a lot of them are actually system agnostic, or at the least very easy to convert. So they'll have a description of the encounter, and then on top of it, they'll have here are the penalties for failure. Here are the methods players can go about for finding success. And so it's really great for having. I really think for new DMs, this is a great place to go. They're all available on Coffee as well, which is nice.
I was wrong, but I felt clever with that puzzle.
Which puzzle was? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it was very clever.
I felt clever. So I was like, there's got to be something. Because here's the thing. I'm going to give away a little secret. DMs don't always mention things that are only important, but if a DM mentions something, it should be important. So being like, I'm going to rest my hand here, like, yeah, that's got to mean something.
Yeah.
Note to new players, if your DM says something, remember it. Ask.
There's 3 more. I want to finish mentioning everyone here who was creators, and I want to kind of open the floor to you guys.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I've
no,
been opening the
please
floor
don't.
myself.
No, I love it. No, this is exactly what we want, because the goal of tonight was not just to get to play another game. I love Dungeons & Dragons, but I wanted to get to demo out some of these new pieces of homebrew, some of these pieces of homebrew we haven't got to try, and also look at these the things that people have made, because they're a lot of fun. One of the last ones here, we have Spicy Encounters 5e, who actually designed the False Nymph. Now, you know, the False Hydra is my... I read a False Hydra in a campaign before we started streaming. It was my crowning achievement as a GM. And so I was really excited to try another false creature. A little bit different on the flavor, but I think it was a very fun way to have a corruption in the Feywild, which went along with Scald's Feywild collection. I really struggle as a DM containing myself to like Monster Manual or Volo's Guide. I love homebrewing monsters, but I don't just want to make random things. Like I've made the Yodelgurt, which is my own demon of my own design. But what I really enjoy, some of my favorite things, are elevating a creature. And so having a false nymph, having this sort of, you guys know what a nymph is. I've changed a few things. I haven't. Spicy Encounters has changed a few things in this circumstance. Is exactly my dungeon mastering style. So Spicy Encounters, if I ever need help with a session, it's going to be where I'm going to go for that sort of thing. It's really up my alley. The last 2, and I'm really excited. You guys got to touch these the most. Were so Kev made the Magical Girl subclasses, and so we've got Artificer, Cleric, Warlock. There's also Rogue. As well, and Druid on top of that. There may be more in the future, maybe not, but these have been they're very colorful.
Yeah, they're really fun to play.
And finally, definitely last and least, was me. I actually got to make the Magus class, which Chloe has helped me in testing previously, and I really appreciate it. The Magus itself is a Spellblade, is a melee martial hybrid, and the original concept for a Magus came from Pathfinder, but I wanted to bring it over to 5th edition. Ililie on our main show plays, Clella plays Ililie, who's a magus on our main show. Really. She plays you, exactly.
Yeah.
But you actually play a spell striker as opposed to a bulwark. So you're fast and nimble, and you're more dex based. And Connor, as a bulwark, was more strength based, heavier armor, and more defensive abilities.
I gotta
Well, I don't
say,
think we got.
it's so great to see more maguses.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of how I feel about other wizards.
I
More maguses, always.
I want to hear what you guys have to think about any of these creators, what we had here tonight.
I feel like in the past, okay, so going back really quick, very short. In the past, we had an NPC who was like an early form of the magus, and for me, it's fun because I ran that NPC a lot in combat. It's fun to see it happen again, and I love clerics. Like, I am playing a cleric right now in a Pathfinder campaign. I've played clerics in the past in Dungeons and Dragons. I like clerics. Jake, you're with me there. And this was so much fun. I really wanted to show off. There was another ability that I didn't really get to show off.
Yeah, spill the secrets.
So it was gentle radius. It was as an action, you put out a ball of light and you choose 2 people who can get healing
You could
from
have
it.
healed your mom.
I actually was going to do that, but I got mad that my mom got eaten. And so instead I went vengeance focused and not healing focused, but I was going to try to heal.
Like a reverse Molly Weasley situation?
Yeah, a little bit. So I love subclasses because I love the idea of a class, and then you dig down deeper into it and you get to that subclass and you get really specific, and this was a really fun one to play.
Okay, I'm really glad you enjoyed it. These characters, the way they work together was fun. It was fun having a subclass ability for one class that related to a subclass for a different class. The Stronger Together?
Yeah.
Strength in
Yeah,
numbers.
strength in
Strength in numbers.
What about you, Alex? Is there a homebrew that kind of jumped out at you here tonight?
Creatures are always cool. They come in so many different flavors, and really, like, you can do just about anything with it. I mean, the balance aside, like it comes, it's interesting to see fun creatures that do fun things. It makes me wonder, like, the whole, like, healing with light thing. It's like, how does that interact with magical flame or things that
Yes.
can't be put out by normal means? Does that make them stronger, or, like, who knows what could happen? And I think that's a lot of the fun, is that, like, when you have those interesting flavors, it adds to narrative. So in a way, all the players contribute just as much to the narrative as the NPCs or even the monsters. So when you have a unique monster, you end up with a unique story.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's all great. One thing that I'm a little sad that I didn't get to use, I was holding on to it the whole time, was my arcane replicator. And if I wouldn't have been charmed, I might have shot it off.
Yes, you basically you can add a bunch of damage. You can basically, it's a multi-class, like double cast from Final Fantasy, which I know you're a big fan of.
Yeah, I ended up, I felt like it was only fitting to try to solve the puzzle with basically something that wasn't even 2-hit because of its high armor class. So I mean, I'm satisfied with the ending, but I do wish that I would have been able to,
More magical.
I'm there with you.
You and me both.
You will all not getting to use a power always just goes, well, I have to play this character again, or I have to do this sort of thing because I want to. I want to push all the buttons on my character sheet.
So I labeled everything that I created asset-wise as Creator Showcase 2022. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, I've been calling it Creator Showcase 1 myself.
I've been calling it Creator Showcase 2022, so I don't know.
Hey,
I'm
if you're
gonna
watching this and
say-
you make stuff, hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on our Discord, which is freely available. We'd love to talk. I really enjoy making sessions, running one-shots, running campaigns, and always I don't need very many excuses to play games with you guys.
If we're all giving tips to new players, I mean, I'm not the most seasoned player, but I feel like there is a kind of a thing that happens to a lot of new players where they feel like they need to hold on to their abilities for something special, and they end up holding them too long and they don't use them.
I think it's good for games in general.
I fall for that still.
Everyone holds elixirs. Everyone,
Right,
max
right.
potion. I don't know if I can use that yet. That's not
Right.
like, do I have enough health yet for this?
It feels like a waste in the moment, but it feels worse if you don't use it at
don't use
all,
it at
all.
and you realize
I had the opposite reaction because I played a paladin in our first
Oh.
campaign, and so I would hold on to my spell slots because those are smites. That's what I'm using it for. Now being a spellcaster that has many more spell slots, I still am concerned of when I'm supposed to be using it. I'm like, no, just use it.
The best
We hoard
days
resources so
I still have that in the back of my head every
Yeah.
now and then.
when I
My
did.
mages will break you of that.
So
Yeah.
today's one shot wasn't about making the hardest encounter ever. I don't think these are hard encounters. It was about getting to try out some new things, try out some different homebrew. When I design, but when I'm doing like a campaign, I actually really like. Some of my favorite days are when you all have used most of your resources, but haven't had to have 5 encounters with nothing. I think the goal is to have the tank on empty, but not out of gas.
Yeah.
You made me cry during a one-shot.
Yeah. Thank you.
It worked.
keep that filter attack under your belt, but use your resources.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have Firebolt in your back pocket
Yeah.
for whenever you're not casting a real spell. But then just don't build your character around only casting spells and then run out and only have a dagger to attack with.
Cantrips are one of the best things about 5th edition
I
in
love
particular,
cantrips.
Yeah.
because it's you have a weapon level efficient attack all the time, so you can use your spells for fun and silly things if you want and not be useless in combat.
Melee
gotta-
cantrips are my favorite cantrips. They are the best, in my opinion.
Now, how did you feel about getting spored and losing your some of your senses? That was one of the spores
wait.
and the lost woods. Those were both from the Feywild.
If I try to eat
That's
something
very
now,
cool.
can I taste
it lasts an hour, so maybe.
If
But
you
how
wake
does
up and
time
you're like,
work in dreams.
Dude, no idea. That's why when you came
Beyond
out, we had
science.
the retired adventurer deal with the monster.
I carry that little stopwatch with me, and it doesn't work really.
It's
for
bro-
keeping
it's
time.
cheap.
It doesn't work.
Well, you started and then
inside.
you stopped it.
I got this in a box
No,
of
that-
Cracker Jacks.
The start and stop works, but like as far as
Cracker
what
Jacks.
time
Fantasy
it is,
Cracker
it
Jacks.
doesn't tick.
I gotta say before we move off of all the fun homebrew, anytime like a creature appears that we instantly name, like and get attached to, I love. Like the messenger flame, instant like, I want this. I just know that Val the next morning writes a very strongly worded letter to her parents.
I know,
saying,
but-
like, I need this in a permanent way, and I will name it Blorb.
It
Clella?
didn't
Now.
die. It
Need
just
it
got
now.
big.
No, it did die.
Oh,
got
it
it
did die.
exploded.
Oh, I didn't know it was
Exploded.
gonna die.
That's why I had you holding his little face when you got out.
Yeah.
You were just
Oh.
holding his head.
I have
twisted.
I have
Here's
news
when
for you,
I went
Clella.
like this.
This session was canonical. Messenger flames exist in the world we know.
Yes. Also, false nymphs.
Oh yeah,
Does it-
dude, false creatures are the worst.
I got to play into a flaw, which is fun. I will read off my character sheet.
You did?
Instantly infatuated with a pretty face.
I was not just insulting Clella whenever I said it. I was going to Clella's
No, but
pause.
Clella, like be real.
Yes. You should always put a little bit of yourself into your character.
Absolutely. Well, do we have any last minute announcements? We'll of course have stuff on the Twitter and on the
Yeah.
socials.
Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on, whatever
On
you
the
have.
social media.
On the social.
And I really want to emphasize this. We're gonna have there should be links below wherever you're watching this. Go check out these creators. We'd love for you to follow them. Go, and if you like what you saw here, a lot of them they sell these different forms of homebrew, or they'll have Patreons or various these ways that you can support them. I highly recommend it because there's some incredibly talented people out there making content that can make your games easier to run. Or if you want to just add a little bit of extra spice, a little seasoning to that, everyone needs a little bit more. Hey, heavy-handed is good.
I loved it because we play so many sessions with the same DM or DMs, right? Like if you're used to somebody's DMing style and you're used to the creatures they may create or use, it was so much fun to see what other people are
Okay.
thinking of in the community. It was fun to experience like, oh, this is what my table is usually like, but this is this new monster I've never heard of before. I don't know how to face it. I don't know what it's weak to or strong against. And it's
Yeah.
just, if you fight a lot of dragons in D&D, eventually as a player, you know this is what dragons do.
That's
so
fair.
it's a lot of fun to see new things in the community.
We haven't really used very many we haven't used very many homebrew subclasses before. The mages is our biggest thing we've done,
Yeah.
with the addition of we had a cleric with a homebrew subclass in a previous campaign. So I'd love to see some more homebrew from the community or made by myself or some of my players in the future. And Clella, I've been thinking, this might be a fun way to end the session. How about we package up the mages so that people can try it out at their table sometime?
Yeah.
Think that could be fun?
I think it might be time.
All right, well, we got to get to work then. Thank you so much. We've been Stories to D4. These are some of my fantastic players. If you like us and you want to come check us out, we stream on Fridays our campaign, which we often have these points where you can jump right on in and meet our heroes, the Defiant Smiles. With that, we're going to let you go for the night. Go rest, have sweet dreams, and maybe you'll meet a magical girl there too. Good night.
Good night.